6:30 p.m. The passenger in the SUV, a 65-year-old Regina woman, was pronounced dead at the scene. Both drivers were taken to a hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. RCMP continued to investigate with help from a collision reconstructionist. That is your 620 CKRM news. Read more stories from around your community and around the province at sasktoday.ca and 620ckrm.com. Your weather is next.
Weather tonight, mostly cloudy, low down to -5, partly sunny tomorrow in the afternoon and a high of +1. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy, and we're going to get windy out of the northwest, 25 gusting up to 45, low down to -3. Thursday, thickening cloud cover, light snow developing in the area, high of -1, but it will be windy out of the northwest, 25 to 50, gusts up to 70 later in the day. Friday, partly sunny and windy, high of -10. Saturday, partly sunny, light snow later in the day, and a high of -2. Currently, downtown Regina, mostly cloudy. It is +2, feels like -3.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sportscage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Sask Lotteries, bringing communities together. Sask Lottery products fund over 12,000 sports, culture, and recreation groups across Saskatchewan. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sportscage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Happy Tuesday to you and welcome to the Sports Cage. It is brought to you by Saskatchewan Lotteries, like the deep-voiced gentleman says. We're here for the next 3 hours talking athletics, and we got a lot to get to. Colson's on the other side of the board. Don Hewitt, former sports director with CTV, is going to be with me in moments. Yesterday was the day. Tegan and Dave had it. If you listened to the program yesterday, I was waiting for it. Tevaughn Campbell, if you listen to this program regularly, you know he was my 1A, 1B maybe. Trevor Harris and then Tevaughn Campbell to sign. It happened yesterday. Luckily, we get to talk to Tevaughn Campbell in about 10 minutes' time here on the program. We're going to talk about the winter meetings that are going on for the CFL. Some audio from that. Tyler Lloyd from the Saskatchewan Roughriders Foundation is going to join us. We're going to talk about the big hockey game coming up. Let's get some names out there. Who's coming to skate? And then we'll be talking to some of the captains later this week and into next week as well. Glen Suitor shifts to hour 2 today on Tuesday. Then we're going to have PumpJacks Cathedral Trivia. We're playing for $150 at PumpJacks Cathedral today. Question will be based around Tevaughn Campbell. So listen, in hour 2. We're going to get an update on the Olympic rinks. We'll just talk about it. Find out what you're thinking out there as well. Arash Madani in hour 3. Arash is shifting to hour 3 for all you Arash fans out there. Please join us anytime in the conversation. 936-6262. That is the Prairie Land Rentals text line. 600 Albert Street. You get to deal with the owner, whatever you need for that rental or that job when it comes to rental. They can help you out. Also a Husqvarna snow thrower dealer. All of our guests are going to join us on the Western Pizza guest hotline, the pickup special. I got it on Friday. All the Greek favorites you love, like souvlaki, rib salad, the goodness you just can't make at home. Western Pizza. I mentioned him. Don Hewitt, from former CTV sports director, is with me on this Tuesday for about an hour and a half. I'm excited to talk to Tevaughn Campbell because I got some questions I've been wanting to ask him for about a year. But besides that, Don, I said it. You know, we were talking off camera before we started here. You know that I thought he was a must. But what's Tevaughn's thought process? Where is he at in his life? He's 32. He's got kids. Where's he living? I don't know all these questions. I wanted to find out. Luckily, we get to talk to him and ask him.
I guess we'll find out. Yeah, I don't know too much about that at all.
But the main thing is he's signed for another year.
And the interesting thing is about Tevaughn Campbell is because of the amount of years that he ended up in the National Football League, he doesn't really have to play football from a financial point of view. So if he's going to play football, it has to be because he's enjoying it and still enjoying it. So, like you said, we'll ask him when we talk to him in 10 minutes or whatever, what his thought process was and going back to play another year at the age of 32 when, again, he doesn't really have to play football.
And he had that injury last year. And 32, we talk about this on the show a lot too. Anybody out there listening that still plays rec hockey, you play rec hockey.
Wow.
Or plays men's flag football. I might do it. I'm old though. 32
No, you're not.
is not my dad's 32. Like 32 is more like the old 25, and 42 is like the old 32. That, yeah. I think maybe it's training, maybe it's supplements, maybe it's the stuff we put in our bodies, and it all reacts the right way. But he's 32. He still has. We saw him on that pick too. How fast he still is, but then he got injured. He won the championship. There's that whole grind of day in, day out. Then you got the off season. Then you got to start working out. That would wear on him. And when you factor in kids into the equation, the kids could be like, Daddy, why can't you just stay at home? Or they could be like, Dad, love watching you play. Don't stop playing. Questions we hopefully he answers because we get to talk to him now.
Well, it's interesting you bring up that point because I've heard other professional athletes who have said, I'm going to play another year because I want my kids to remember.
Yeah.
And that's important sometimes to a lot of people in any walk of life. If they're doing something, they hope their kids think that they're doing it decently or whatever it might be.
I've seen guys do it in senior hockey. I've seen guys do it in senior men's baseball, which is still competitive. They want to play so their kids can see. Part of it is so the kids, they can't really call you a duster, or they can because it's like, hey, look I can still get out here and do things. No, but it's 32. The way he could change a game when he was out of the lineup, you knew that he was out of the lineup.
Ratio changer too.
Oh, for sure. The other guy that signed yesterday, and you really like him, you were big on him, in extension, was Jameer Thurman.
Well, the thing about Jameer is two things I'd say. First of all, he can play sideline to sideline. You'll see him make a tackle by the one sideline, the next play is on the other side, making the tackle. So the amount that he can cover field for the physicality in the box that he displays is rare. It's rare. And another factor about Jameer Thurman is he's the kind of leader that you win championships with, and I think Jeremy O'Day and Coach Mace are well aware of that. He was upset last year, not because he wanted more attention. He was upset because he didn't think A.J. Allen was getting enough attention in his linebacking core. Now, most professional athletes, they like to have a little bit of attention once in a while. A lot of them do. Jameer Thurman gets upset because somebody else on his team isn't getting enough attention. That says it all. That's what leaders do. And players rally around personalities like that.
Rick and Shelley on the Prairie Land Rentals text line excited about the Tevaughn Campbell. He was high on their list as well. Let us know what you think.
Definitely.
936-6262. Did you watch first off the game last night, Pittsburgh and Houston?
I have never seen, yes I did. I have never seen in the fourth quarter defensive line, Houston, literally running over an offensive line, Pittsburgh, pancaking people. Like, how good was Aaron Rodgers in the fourth quarter? I have no idea. Nobody can play with that kind of pressure in the pocket. He can't move, obviously, but guys are actually being pancaked at that level of football. I would say that it's going to be a very interesting game between Barney's, New England Patriots, and Houston, because the physicality of both your defenses, but Houston, they have brute physicality. That's all you can say about that team.
It was. I know 936-6262. Unless you're a Texans fans, which I don't really know any Texans fans. Pittsburgh fans, yes.
Either, I don't think.
It was a painful game to watch. Now, I sprinkled hard on Houston -4.5 because the other odds I was like, so I'm gonna go -4.5, and then for the longest time, it was almost like they were playing in a typhoon or really cold weather. Like the weather was so bad because no one could generate anything. Aaron Rodgers was throwing the balls over guys that my daughter says, well, this quarterback stinks. And I said, well, that's Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, he must be off. And then later in the game, to your point, when the defensive lineman of the Houston Texans runs over the Pittsburgh guy, my son goes, because he was up watching, he goes, well, how did that just happen in professional football?
I know.
I said, yeah, it was almost like you're watching, the RMF when the kid that hasn't really played gets put in and then gets run over. And then to that point.
It really was. Yeah.
Mike Tomlin, if you haven't heard, has stepped down as Steelers coach after 19
And I
seasons.
believe it was his call.
It sounds like it's his
The fans were very vocal apparently last night, wanting him fired, and they were vocal in a game earlier wanting him fired. Such a good regular season coach, but has faltered in the playoffs. But he hasn't had a quarterback, Barney, since Big Ben, to be honest.
Yeah, but then you can point to other coaches who haven't really had quarterbacks either, and they find out a way to win. Now, I'm not going to sit here and crap on Tomlin because 19 years and what he did in Pittsburgh, and that organization's always there. But at some point, is getting to the playoffs great, beer sales and concession sales and ticket sales, but you need to win. And I think the heat and the booing and all that, he needs a change of scenery as well.
I think that's what happened. Exactly right. And he's lost, tied an NFL record for double-digit losses, straight losses in the playoffs, tied an NFL record last night. So I think when he was walking off the field, he had his mind made up. And we saw Rodgers walk off the field, perhaps for the last time as well. The camera stayed on him, so we'll have to see what happens with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, in my own view, he should retire because at his age, the pounding he took last night. His helmet half the time was askew.
Wasn't it Mason Rudolph the one time for Pittsburgh that got hit so hard and they had to take his mask off? He was just sitting there with his helmet, looked like Gazoo from the Flintstones. But I find Aaron Rodgers.
Scary stuff to get hit like that.
Aaron Rodgers, I thought you were going to talk about the Flintstones because you used to do sports on CTV probably after around.
That was the worst decision CTV ever made.
Canceling Flintstones?
Disastrous decision to take the Flintstones off at 12 o'clock. Nobody liked it.
I don't know how we always got home fast enough to watch the Flintstones.
Yeah.
Like if you were that kid that had, 12 blocks, 15 blocks
from school,
you missed part of it.
Yeah.
I was a good
Saskatoon. They had this. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we had for sure.
CFQC.
I had 2.5 blocks, and a lot of times my Vietnamese friend V and I would practice sprinting all the way home. So we made it home with ample time.
Oh, good for you.
For a bowl of soup.
Yeah.
And luckily, it was always the best when there was leftover Chinese food. I remember sitting down and
still
watching.
Still is one of the best things.
Sitting down and watching.
Still is.
But back to the NFL and coaches. How does Shanahan get it done with San Fran? With this ragtag bunch, Kittle blows his Achilles. He's already down. Bosa and
some big players down on that team.
Huge.
And they beat a very physical Eagles team that's been sort of off and on all year. That to me was the biggest surprise, I'd say, of the 6 games played over the weekend was the Niners going into Philadelphia and beating the Eagles. And Big Dom is down. Big Dom, their intimidator.
Mm-hmm.
It's so stupid, this Big Dom thing. I've never seen anything dumber in my life.
Yeah,
they deserve to lose.
For me, the biggest surprise, and I think we posted it because I do my bad bets and good bets of the weekend, and I was riding high, thinking I was a cowboy after the Panthers. Panthers 11 points. I was like, they're covering 11 points at home against the Rams. They darn near almost beat them.
They did.
So watch that. So then hit that bet, and then I thought there is no way. I wouldn't say no way. I did not think Buffalo was going to win in Jacksonville the way Jacksonville's been playing in Jacksonville, and Buffalo's beat up. And Josh Allen is the high school football player that you find playing six-man that is just athletically better than everybody else, and he just takes the game over and he wins.
And the debacle is this upcoming schedule. And what they've done is like the fix is in to get the Rams into the Super Bowl. I don't know, because, I mean, the Niners and the Bills have to play on a short week against teams that are both coming off byes. Meanwhile, like the Rams have 8 days rest. It's all flipped around. If you want to go online and read Tony Dungy talking about what a debacle that it is, what the NFL has done with this schedule for these huge 4 games this weekend. It's like not fair. That's what Tony Dungy said. And the spacing, what do you think? Am I over-exaggerating?
I want people to text in or call
like
in.
Even Monday night, like the Houston's got a disadvantage right there, and then they have to travel, and they get they get 6 days.
The NFL's all scripted. Don, don't you read those when people say it's scripted?
I'm starting to maybe understand that.
The flat Earth people and the NFL is scripted people. I would love them to come in and be part of the show. Okay. Colson's telling us we got him on the line. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk to newly inked Saskatchewan Roughrider Tevaughn Campbell. It is the Sports Cage, streaming through our YouTube channel if you want to watch along at sportscage.com.
Did you know over 1.3 million homeowners call on Reliance for their water heater needs? With over 150,000 five-star online reviews and over 60 years experience, you could say Reliance Heath are water heater experts. Switch to Reliance Heath today. They'll give you $200 for all your hot water needs.
Call on Reliance.
Visit waterheaterrentals.com for details. Terms and conditions apply.
Back to our regular spot, PumpJacks Cathedral.
You know, I thought PumpJacks was a kind of boot polish till last month.
What are you getting?
Kerwin's crispy ribs and a cold pint of local craft. Crispy, meaty, beautiful.
You had me at meaty.
Plus, we got live music on the weekends, big screens. This place is basically my second marriage.
And way cheaper than the first.
On the corner of Albert and 13th, PumpJacks Cathedral Saloon and Steakhouse. Come early, stay late. The place where friends meet.
Getting in on more of the sports action you want is as easy as playing at sportselect.com. Simply make your picks online, generate your QR code, and lock in your bet at your local Lotto Spot retailer. Then sit back, watch the game, grip your chair, and high-five anyone nearby. Every bet is 100% legal with the chance of winning cash in hand. When you're ready to play, bet on the original. Must be 18 plus to play. Play responsibly.
If it's happening in sports in Saskatchewan, we've got it covered on Sports Cage. Be part of the show. Call 936-6262 or toll free 1-866-767-0620 on your radio at 620 CKRM and online at sportscage.com.
Welcome back to the Sports Cage. Don is with me. Big news yesterday out of the Riders. And so I'm to the point where I don't think it's strategic. I think they're just releasing it when they sign guys, because Jameer Thurman, they released that yesterday, and then the big one, I was like, yes. I was like, am I allowed to be a fan? I'm like, Tevaughn Campbell yesterday. So we got him on the show. Let's go out on the Western Pizza guest hotline, a guy who probably likes Western Pizza when he's in town. Tevaughn Campbell is joining us here. Tevaughn, thanks for making some time today. I don't know, are you a busy guy in the off season right now?
I try to be, but not so busy these days.
Okay, was the decision made soon after the Grey Cup to come back and play for you, or did it take a while, as indicated by early January signing here?
It kind of took a while. I knew I wanted to think about it after the Grey Cup, and Corey knew that, Joe knew that, so they kind of just gave me time to go home, relax, sit back, drown in my thoughts.
Was retirement a thought?
Retirement was a thought. Retirement was the main thought, I'd say.
Really?
Oh, well, we're glad you changed your mind.
Exactly.
That's for sure.
So you have one boy, is that correct?
No, I have 3 kids.
3
2
kids?
boys, 1 girl.
Okay. So is that a factor with them wanting to watch Dad play, or is it the other way where it's like, hey, Dad, we want you to come and spend some more time with us?
I think it's kind of both, but I know my son loves it, like coming out to the games, and he drives to Montreal, Ottawa whenever we played them, and he was born in Regina, so he's kind of a diehard Riders fan at heart. He doesn't know it yet, but I do think they do love the time they spend with their dad, and they would cherish that more as well, and that's kind of what went into the thought process as well.
Well, of course, the Roughriders, as you know, Tevaughn, have only won 5 Grey Cups in 115 years. You just won the 5th one. And the biggest play of the game was a play that you made. And it didn't make sense from a physics point of view, because you're listed at 6'195". The fullback that you sort of knocked him back, you got him off his course. Jacob Mason, he's 6'2", 22", so officially, maybe not exactly to the pound, there's 27-pound difference in your weights, and yet you were able to dislodge him and force that fumble. Usually when a guy weighs 27 pounds more, you bounce off him. That's not what happened. So how did that play happen? How did you get a hit on a guy that's that much heavier and change the course of this game?
I think it had a lot to do with the stakes, man. The stakes were high. They're on the 1-yard line or the 3-yard line or wherever they were. So they weren't really like, this is do or die right now. For us, our backs are against the wall. So like, this could be the last play. So I got to go all out and just give it my all. I didn't expect to, dislodge the ball. I didn't expect any of that to happen. I just knew I saw him coming. I said, I got to set the edge and set it as hard as I can so my linebackers could float over the top and make the tackle. But yeah, it just worked out. It worked in our favor.
Special team last year, everybody from the coaching staff to the players and all that. Did you know that before you signed? Did you get it kind of when you got here at camp or early in the season? When did you kind of know, because you've been around a lot of good football teams and good football players, when did you know that this was a special group?
When we were having conversations, me and Corey, I knew he had potential to bring a special group together. So it was never in my mind that we weren't going to be good. It was just, you never know until you start playing those games. In camp, you're going against yourselves. You never know. You could look great against yourselves, and then you go to the game and, you lose 16 games in a row. It doesn't matter. So I just knew once we started actually playing those season games and getting out there, showing what we can do and showing when everything's on the line, how the guys react. Probably by week 2, I'm like, all right, these guys are ballers.
Mace, you played with him. All of a sudden, now he's kind of relinquished things to Joshua Bell. Intense guy, love him. Great interview as well. Your thoughts on Josh Bell and what he brings?
I always knew Josh was going to be a coach, man. From when me and Josh played together, just he controlled the DB meetings, and it was just always like, you could just tell when he talks. He's a passionate coach. He's passionate about football, but he's more passionate about the guys he's surrounded himself with. And I think that differentiates a lot of coaches from him. And I know what he's capable of. He's a good secondaries coach, and he's a good defensive coach. He knows the defense inside and out.
It's interesting, isn't it, how people knew Mace was going to be a coach too when he played. There's certain individuals that seem that way. Is Micah Johnson one of those individuals, do you think, with his new role as defensive line coach?
I didn't even know Micah was retiring, so this is news to me. Micah is on the older age, so I knew it was coming one day. But he's a guy that just has a lot of bite and a lot of dog in him. I didn't think it would come to this, but I guess, man, every dog has his day, and he just decided to hang him up. but I know he's going to be a good coach regardless, because even last year when we were playing during the season, he's in practice coaching up the guys, coaching up the younger guys. I mean, I didn't see it coming, but not to say it wouldn't happen.
Now, you were thinking about possibly retiring with a Grey Cup championship when the season ended. You said before we were recording this interview that that's where you thought you were heading. What changed your mind? How did that month or so, or 2 months, I guess it would be, that went by, how did that go with you and your thinking process to the point where you have now signed another one-year contract?
So I think a lot of it has to do with just like football being in the season, and you're going through all these games, your body's getting beat up, you're sore. Like last season, I broke my jaw in the middle of the season. That's why I missed 4 weeks. And at those moments, you're kind of thinking like, damn, like, broke my jaw, like I'm 32, why am I doing this to myself? And then I had a month to sit down and do nothing. My body started healing. I'm like, damn, I got a lot more energy in me. So
that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hear that.
Exactly.
You hear that from a lot of athletes, right? Where they think, but the other thing you hear sometimes too is athletes. They'll talk to other athletes that are a little bit older that maybe retired, and they'll say, no, you just give some time and then play as long as you can, because you can't, it's hard to go back once you take some time off. Did you talk to anybody throughout the process, that maybe a mentor or someone that you respect athlete-wise?
Did I? I think I talked to everyone from guys on the D-line, from guys on the secondary, guys on the offense. I know Trevor knew. I know Yosh knew. I know Scoop knew. Malik Carney. And I know, like, all my DBs pretty much knew. And every single one of them would come to me and tell me, nah, don't do it. Nah, don't do it. Don't do it. But you can't retire after this season. Yeah. I'm just like, man, like, I can, but so I'm just like, all right, maybe they see something in me that I don't see in myself, I guess.
Well,
so.
But come on, let's be honest. Those guys are maybe doing a little selfishly, right? Because they want you. What about guys that aren't? What about guys that aren't on the team? Guys that maybe have retired already. Did you talk to anybody like that?
No, not really. I know a guy who's retired already and kind of like settled in his retirement. He's gonna be like, I mean, hey, like, do what you gotta do. Like, he's not gonna help the case. So, I kind of just left it to myself, left it to my mind to overthink or underthink.
What do you do post football? What do you want to do?
Real estate. I'm in a real estate development now, so just expanding my real estate portfolio.
Sounds good.
Okay, I wanted to ask you this whenever I had a chance to talk to you. Now, you played, and there's a lot of talk in Regina, because when you played the Rugby 7, and guys are always messaging us, being, he played Rugby 7, he's played. Now, is there a chance that if they ask you to try out or come, would you be interested in maybe throwing your hat in the ring to see if you could play on Canada's flag football team?
Olympics.
In the Olympics, yeah. I mean, I say yeah now, I'm 32. But that's in, 2028, 2 years? So, yeah, if I got energy. If I got energy at that time, if my knees are feeling good. It's all up to the knees at that time.
Well, exactly. And then, so, we saw the pick 2, and everybody made, the story on that and how fast you were. Now, you ran a 4.3540 in the CFL Combine way back when. I got to ask you, when's the last time you ran a 40? What would you be running right now or this season?
I'd say 4.4.
4.4?
I'd say 4.4. Yeah. So in the off season, I was actually training for track. So, I kept a little speed. No, go ahead.
On that pick on the Labor Day Classic, all season I think that was the loudest, most deafening cheer, and it went on a while as Tevaughn went down the field. It was like I'm old, so I had to put my hands over my ears. It was so loud. What does that feel like when you're running down a field and it's deafening in the stands?
It's funny because when I got back to the stands, I know a lot of people were saying, man, it got so loud, but I heard nothing. I'm not going to lie. All I heard was my breath in the helmet and just like that of me running. I was so tired after the play, too. Yeah. Oh, man. But I actually didn't hear anything. I was focused on, man, let me get past this line, just breathing.
Because I think the NFL does it. I know for sure the NHL, sometimes they do it when a guy's flying up the ice. They tell you the speed that he's skating at miles per hour. So I was like, oh, it'd be cool if TSN could have done that and really given us a look on how fast you were going. Okay, the other question I've been meaning to ask you, way back when, how do you get from Wilfrid Laurier High School in Toronto to the U of R Rams? How did that? Colson's got a clip here from way back when. I don't know if you remember this. Here, let's check this out.
Tell me about the role you expect to play for the Rams this year.
Expect pick sixes all day. Big sixes, some returns.
Pick sixes, some returns. How did you end up in the 306, man?
It's funny about that clip. I actually got no picks in my college career. So
you're kidding.
I got nothing I wished for. But so my coach, I played Scarborough Thunder out here in Toronto, and my coach, his brother went to the U of R at the time, Adrian Charles, and they just connected me with the coaches and came down for a visit, liked it, so I decided to come here.
You know, I just want to go through your journey because you live in Toronto now. That's where you're from. You go to Regina. And then through your football career, you end up in New York with the Jets. You end up in Los Angeles with the Chargers, two of the largest cities not only in the U.S. but in the world. Then you end up back in little old Regina and little old Saskatchewan again, where you are now. Tell me about that journey, because you've gone from, one thing to the exact opposite and the other in your football career. Tell me about that experience.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy because just going back to when I first got drafted to Calgary, it was like from that time in 2015 to now, I've probably been on, 8 teams, 9 teams. So it's just been, pick up all your things, get going. I remember when I got released from the Chargers, I went to the Raiders. I was there for probably a week. I finally got an apartment, settled in. I moved all my stuff, and I kid you not, I moved into my apartment, sat down on the couch, got a call from the Jaguars GM, and he's like, yeah, we're going to fly you out. I said, okay. Had to pack up all my things back, ship my car. It was just a mess, but that's kind of just how, that's kind of how my career has been going. It's just, pick up and go. You go from one extreme to the next extreme, and like you're saying, going from Regina to New York to LA to Florida. But yeah, no, it was crazy, but I mean, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
What do you like about being in a smaller place versus what do you like about being in a larger place, etc.? Like, you seem to adapt well to a very small city like Regina comparatively from where you've been.
I'm a very introverted person, I'd say, so a lot of my time is spent in my house, and it's funny because when I was coming back, I'm like, okay, it'll be low-key, small town, I know people might know me in my age bracket, but, everyone else won't really know who I am or recognize me or anything like that, so I'll be good. And then, I had a decent year, and now I'm in the grocery store. People are like, hey, are you Tevaughn Campbell? Blah, blah. I'm like, okay. Yeah, this is kind of backfired, but
hey, you can get those groceries delivered now. Trust me, my wife. I know about that. And then I was thinking too, it's like when those trains start going over Ring Road and everyone's frustrated. You've been through, New York. You got the Lincoln Tunnel and all that traffic there. So traffic issues even in a small place. Do you have 2 NFL touchdowns?
Yeah.
And then the one
or 3, 2, yeah.
Joe Flacco one. That's the one I remember. Do you keep the ball? Did you keep that ball by chance?
Oh yeah, I keep. Oh, for sure. That's in the basement right now.
Right. Okay. And then I ask all the guys we have on, especially when they have they've been to NFL camps or they've played NFL. Do you have an NFL team?
What I used to say when I used to play in the NFL is whatever team paid me. So that was my favorite team, yeah. But no, I don't particularly have one now. I remember when I was younger, probably high school times, I liked the Steelers a lot just because Troy Polamalu was on the team, and kind of I liked him as a player, so I like the Steelers. But now I don't really. I watch the Jags, I watch the Chargers.
Yeah.
Kind of the only 2 teams I keep up with.
Who do you got then in the Super Bowl? Mike Tomlin, by the way, just called it quits. Where it just stepped down with Pittsburgh.
Did he?
He said he's done. Yeah, just like about half.
I think it was his call.
Half hour ago. Yeah, he said.
He decided.
He said
after yesterday's loss.
Yeah, I'm stepping back. Who do you got in the Super Bowl then? Who do you think's there at the end?
I think the Bills. I think the Bills will go.
Oh.
I think the Bills.
I like that answer.
Were you
I
the
like
Packers?
that answer.
Come on.
Oh, the Pats? Yeah.
Tevaughn. Okay. Who do you got?
We didn't read his T-shirt.
Yeah. Who do you got out of Miami and Indiana? That could be an interesting game.
I don't know about Miami. That's the thing. Miami's kind of. I want to say Miami, but maybe Miami. I'll say Miami. Yeah. Only because I know a couple of people in Miami, but
yeah. Okay, well, thank you for signing the 1-year deal. Thank you for doing this.
Absolutely.
Making time. Rider Nation obviously is excited. We're looking forward to seeing you back at camp and have fun training and getting ready.
No doubt. Appreciate you guys.
Right on.
Thanks, Tevaughn.
There he is. Grey Cup champion from our Saskatchewan Roughriders, back in the fold for 2026.
You know, a great signing.
That was my number one.
Yeah, and
after Trevor.
That's not a bad call. After Trevor, I think the Riders had maybe 6-7 players where they felt they just have to get them back.
Mm-hmm.
And generally, I think that's what they're doing and have done. Now, of course, it's going to be very interesting as to who they lose, because you knew when they won the Grey Cup, Barney, of course, that the stock was going to go up for some of the players. Jameer Thurman coming back for another year in 2027. They extended him. Huge. He was a dominant player in the Grey Cup game. Just a dominant player. I'm not so sure they would have won the Grey Cup without Jameer Thurman. I think they know it.
That's tough.
And the greatest, by the way, a little history, the greatest linebacking performance by a Rough Rider linebacker in the Grey Cup game since '76 with Cleveland Van. And in both games, each had 11 solo tackles, I believe. I believe so. And Cleveland Van was the most outstanding defensive player, even though they lost the '76 Grey Cup game. But Thurman was he was a stud, and he led them.
I think it was with you last week, and then for the weeks here, I'm like, does anyone know Tevaughn Campbell? Can anyone talk to him? What's his family situation? Mm-hmm. Where's he living? And he gave us really a look behind the curtain there. He was thinking about retirement, and then he takes the time. And then now he comes back. Obviously, little boy Elijah wants to see him play. Wants to see Dad ball out.
Yeah, and it was interesting to see, or to hear rather, him say that he was shy. He was a bit introverted.
Yeah.
You never think of professional football players like that, or having personalities like that, but of course they do. Of course it varies.
That's why sometimes when you see them out, just kind of give them their space. Let him pick his fruit at the grocery store and all that. That was awesome that we had him. If you missed it, you can go back and listen to podcast form. If you missed it all, it gave us some time today. It is a Sports Cage. We are streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com and on the home of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 620 CKRM.
Ever seen a cow in a toque or a sweater? You probably could. They're not fans of winter either. When it's freezing out, your herd still needs water. But good luck convincing them to trek half a mile through snowdrifts for a drink. That's where Keln Solar comes in. Their solar livestock watering systems let you drop a pump just about anywhere. No grid, no trenching, no drama. So let the cows stay cozy. You move the water. Keln Solar. They move water because your cows won't. Visit kelnsolar.com.
You've worked hard for years, but when you retire, do you know your options that truly fit you and your family? That's where Chad Reach, Senior Wealth Advisor, and the team at GP Financial Services and Aviso Wealth come in. They help you understand your choices, avoid costly mistakes, and build a retirement plan. Independent advice, local expertise. Before you make the next move, talk to Chad Reach, 306-584-2755.
Mutual funds and other securities are offered through Aviso Wealth, a division of Aviso Financial Inc.
Sask Lotteries has over 50 years of winning behind us. And you know what that means? Lots of winning numbers. Numbers like over 1,200 organizations funded and 12,000 plus groups supported. $6 million given away annually in community grants. And the winningest number of all? $1.4 billion given back to the people of Saskatchewan through sport, culture, and recreation. And we're just getting started. Learn more at sasklotteries.ca.
Back to Sportscage. Text 306-936-6262. 620 CKRM.
Welcome back to the show for Saskatchewan Lotteries on Tuesday. Main fundraiser for sport, culture, and recreation in Saskatchewan. Don Hewitt is with me until about 4:30, former CTV sports director. Colson's on the other side of the board, 936-6262. A lot of people on the text line excited about Tevaughn Campbell back in the fold, no doubt about it. And I know a lot of you texted in yesterday when Dave and Tegan were here too. The winter meetings are ongoing in Calgary. I had a chance to sit in on quite a few of the coaches and GMs yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Danny Machocha and Jason Moss, and they said they're moving on from Sean Lemon.
You what?
They're moving on from Sean Lemon.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right out front. They
soured on Lemon, have they?
I see what you did there. So it's and then tomorrow Stuart Johnston speaks, and we will have audio on that here as well. What if you were there, or if you could ask, especially tomorrow with Stu, what questions would you ask him?
Well, one thing that seems to have happened here, and Machocha talked about how he didn't like all of these changes with rules, and even Coach Mace, Corey Mace, suggested that he hadn't thought it out that much during the season. Well, he's a busy man, but as he thought about some of the rules changes, he sort of hinted that he wasn't so sure about some of them. So I'm wondering, is there sort of a little bit of an uprising here with some of the coaches and general managers about these rule changes that's occurring as we speak? I don't really know. Some of them were upset because they didn't know about it beforehand, but Stuart Johnston couldn't spill the beans. He kept it quiet. He's from a media background. He did it correctly. He couldn't tell people about this to start with. It had to be kept under wraps, then announced properly, because that's what makes a good media conference or press conference, and that's what gets headlines, stronger headlines, because nobody knows anything about it. Nothing's leaked, so it becomes even bigger as a result, and Stuart Johnston understands that. So I think criticism about him not letting teams know about it is completely bogus. Mm-hmm. He knows what he's doing, but is there an uprising going on? I mean, I don't know. I'll talk to Glen Suitor about, is there an uprising with certain people?
Suits is coming up to start the 4 o'clock hour today. Winter meeting discussion topics, application of rule changes, additional rule changes, overtime, replay center, negotiation list, Olympic guidelines, playoffs, free agency and communication window, additional on-uniform branding opportunities, end-of-season player recognition, contingency plans related to inclement weather, player compensation, transparency. That's an interesting one for me. Then the other one would be overtime. I like the overtime. Now, if they come out with a change and they show us data or they explain why they think they should be, okay, then I'll listen. I think the overtime's exciting. You know what I was looking at closely? You maybe I'll fact check this. I was looking at this a while ago because we usually get text messages, or especially when all the rule changes were coming down, and there are so many people that are still, and I get it, and to each their own, so many people that are still anti-rule changes. Do not touch the game. We don't need anything. And some of them are a little bit more drastic than the others. And then I was like, for some reason I thought about it, and I was like, I wonder if these people were up in arms when they changed the overtime in the CFL, because that was, I think, the early 2000s that in the CFL went, and we changed it a couple times. change, I thought, well, these people, they could have been, lambasting whatever commissioner was in at that point. Are all those talking points or questions that I throw out there, anything jump out besides the rules? Anything jump out at you?
Well, I've said this before in this show. I think Stuart Johnston is quite a brilliant individual, and I think the league's going to do well under him. It's really, I think these rule changes and all the controversy, I think I haven't seen one I don't like, but I think there's a real divide here amongst generations.
Oh, yeah.
That the older fans don't like it. They don't want change. I mean, we had very exciting games without any rule changes. And the younger fans, they want to see some changes, some more excitement, which they feel, in fact, Stuart Johnson feels that'll develop into more exciting games. And so, I mean,
I like player compensation transparency. I know Glen Suitor doesn't agree with me there.
Yeah, I like all kinds of transparency, but Glen makes a good counter argument. There's no doubt about it. It's not all right or all wrong. I mean, we've heard him with his thoughts about other players who are at the minimum feeling bad and that sort of thing, and that's true. Nothing's perfect. You change anything, it's never perfect, but it's generally as a whole to the good, and that's what I see. Nothing is like, oh, that's perfect. No, it'll never be that perfect. But is it generally overall better? And my argument is yes, it will be. And but if we don't want the CFL crowd looking like a curling crowd, in the sense that I go to curling events and I'm right in there with the age group. And they need the younger fans. We see the younger fans coming in Saskatchewan, but in other centers, and I think they're getting some positive feedback and developments about younger fans. TSN, for example, their demographic with younger fans is improving, so that's good. But they have to do more of it. They have to get the younger fans more interested, and I think that's what Stuart Johnston is trying to do, and even. With on social media and how they're presenting the games, that's what Stuart Johnston's looking at to get the younger fans, and that's what they have to do. It can't be the old man's fan league. It just can't be.
I don't think
it has to change.
I don't think. Yeah, they should try something, but personally, I don't think any of these rule changes are swinging kids off their phones or away from whatever they're doing to watch football. I don't care if it's CFL, if it's NFL. Or what it is, it's just a different time and all that. And
it's funny, a different time.
You brought up that Glenn says with the player compensation transparency and how we don't want the guys that make the minimum to feel bad. Like, isn't that such a Canadian thing? It's like, hey, you're in the business of professional sports.
Here's what transparency does. It causes debate. It causes people to talk about things. They may get angry. Here's one thing they need to know. The more passionate a fan base is, or the more they care about a team or a league, the angrier they get. In other words, anger is good.
Passion,
exactly. It's tied into passion. And transparency brings out more discussion. Now, we'll see what Glenn says after the hour, but top of the clock. But it brings out more discussion, more controversy. You name it. I mean, that's Stuart Johnston understands that. His thinking is at a higher level than other commissioners that I've seen in this league.
My kids and I were at a gas station a while ago, and this husband and wife, I think they were, arguing and angry at each other. And I said, kids, that's passion.
What were they arguing about? Were they arguing about the CFL?
Let's go to the Western Pizza guest hotline. And joining us from the Saskatchewan Roughriders Foundation quickly here to talk about the Winter Classic is Tyler Lloyd. Did you like that one, Ty? That was
a dandy. I thought maybe that was me at the gas station talking about arguing. So.
It was NOD. Yeah. It was NOD. So I didn't get a close look at who it was. I know the guy didn't have a beauty duster like you have there. That's for sure.
I had to grow this duster just for the hockey game, so it'll come off after. But
yeah. Okay, so coming up January 31st, up at the Belcher Center, beautiful facility again in Saskatoon. Yes, what's been released so far? What do you want people to know here? This is my first crack at it. Listening to it looks like it's Team Getzlaf versus Team Lawther again.
Yeah, so we're on year 4, Winter Classic, which is our charity hockey game that we do up at Mirrlees Belcher, like you said. So Team Lawther, Team Getzlaf. This is Brett's brainchild. He brought this to us 4 years ago. He won the first 2. Getz won the last one. So Getz is going for 2, and so Brett, he's captaining Team Co-op. Kian Schaefer-Baker's his coach. Getz's team is Ham Construction. So one of the Ham boys that plays down with Cylinder's kid down in Arizona, and then Joe is coaching that team. So we got big personalities on the bench, and then a bunch of guys, alumni and current players that'll be playing. We haven't decided what team they're on yet, so kind of doing the team draft, team split between Getz and Brett, but looking forward to that. So yeah, guys like Claremont, Weeb. Andrew Harris, Fantuz is coming in. Noah Zur, who's like maybe somebody that you wouldn't typically picture on skates.
He's a Saskatchewan boy, though. Yeah.
That's Saskatchewan boy, right? Yeah, and Picton. And then just some guys that are around as well that aren't necessarily hockey players or can't skate super well, but that will be present, like Tommy Stevens, Furland, Brammer, and Charbel, obviously Gaynor, Cheer. We do it up like it's a pro hockey game. Gordy and Ty from the operations side and from the football ops team, set up the dressing room like as if it's like legit, right? So, and then our game day team from the club actually comes and volunteers and runs the game day. So it feels like, it feels like a professional game. So, basically what we're trying to do is, push tickets, Saskatoon event. It's $15, super cheap. Keep it low. Come see the Grey Cup. Grey Cup's going to be there. Watch a fun hockey game for charity, and all of that funding and support comes back to the foundation, which we use for our school programming. So mental health, Win with Wellness, and Rider Reading.
I was going to ask about Win with Wellness and where the money goes to. You also just kind of briefed on Andrew Harris is lacing him up.
Yeah, Andrew Harris is lacing him up, so he's still, I think, playing senior in Manitoba.
Yeah, he's from.
Well, we better fact check that because I know he did.
Maybe he did, but he's going to come lace him up. Yeah, and I had Harris on the list, and I just wanted to clarify that it's Andrew, not Trevor.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. If you're playing senior hockey and you saw Andrew Harris on the other side, I'd get real timid fast.
Yeah,
we
had him playing on our club staff slow pitch team, so that helped a lot too this year. So it got us a couple extra bases.
Big slow pitch guy. Getzlaf and Lawther, though, both really good hockey players. So right out of the gate, and you're probably so how many guys are you still waiting for? Some names, some NHLers, things like that.
So we got 2 NHL guys confirmed, and I can drop those today. So Sillinger will be on one side, and Mike Commodore is the other one.
Nice.
So two absolute beauties, right? So we'll split those guys up, and then I think we're still working on a couple more. But those 2 have confirmed so far. So yeah, those 2 guys are great personalities, and
yeah,
Mike Commodore is the number 1 Gary Bettman hater in the world. Mike Commodore.
You and him.
So you want to go talk to how you don't like Gary Bettman? Go to this game.
Yeah, that's he'll have all kinds of good commentary. So and he's going to do a little bit of stuff for us, leading up to it and after the fact, and he'll be doing some media hits as we get closer too. So great guy, like I said, 2 absolute beauties, and having Sillinger kind of get him and rein him in as a local guy, as we know, right? And Mike's just been fantastic for us.
I just talked to Kami last week, and he's going to come on the show here pre-Olympics, so we got more stuff to talk about. Yeah, it's perfect. All right, so we're up against the clock here, and I know we're going to talk to, I think, Lawther on Thursday, and then we're going to have someone from Team Getzlaf as well next week, too, because we're going to be all over this, hyping it up. For right now, where can people go check things out? If they want to get tickets earlier, where can they go, Ty?
Riderville.com/Winter Classic. So just the Riderville website's best place to go right now for tickets.
Perfect. All right. And so are you playing in the game with that mustache, like a little Dave Babbage thing back there?
I am not. I'm not lacing him up this go around. No. I'll take early retirement and watch from the stands.
Get on the bench, like when Keenan had his mustache. Okay. We'll get her going. Okay. Thanks for hopping on. And like I said, we were talking to Lawther on Thursday. We'll keep pushing this. Keep doing the good work out there. Tyler, thanks for doing this.
Appreciate you. Thanks, gentlemen.
Right on.
Thanks, Tyler.
Tyler Lloyd from the Saskatchewan Roughrider Foundation. Coming up January 31st at the Merlish Belcher Place in Saskatoon. We're up against the clock. Break time. It is a Sports Cage. We'll be right back.
If you have a garage door that's running a little rough, you should really have Busy Bee Doors, the garage door specialists, come out and repair it. Or it may need to be replaced altogether. Yeah, just call Busy Bee Doors, the local experts who have been in the business for many, many years, because they can fix or replace any commercial or garage door.
Honey, calling Busy Bee.
Good idea. Busy Bee Doors, the garage door specialists.
Hey, it's Mark from Play 92, and I'm excited to be your host for Hope's Home's 8th annual Swinging with the Stars, presented by Saskatchewan Blue Cross. It's all happening February 7th, 2026. Over the past 7 years, this incredible event has raised over $900,000 for Hope's Home, helping kids with complex medical needs right here in Regina. We've got 9 local celebrities paired with pro dancers hitting the stage, and trust me, it's going to be unforgettable. Join us for the event of the year and help make a difference. Get your tickets now at hopeshome.org.
Winter in Saskatchewan tests everything, our patience, vehicles, and sometimes our bumpers. From icy parking lot dings to serious highway mishaps, choosing local matters. At Regina Motor Products Collision Center, we're Saskatchewan owned, run, and we drive these roads too. An SGI accredited full-service collision center working on all makes and models. Submit your SGI claim and book your appraisal. It's easy. When you need repairs you can trust, it's neighbors helping neighbors. Regina Motor Products Collision Center, south at Highways 1 and 6 Albert Street, rmpchevrolet.com.
It's time for the Sports Ticker.
Okay, Sports Ticker time. Hockey. WHL, Saskatchewan teams, Prince Albert hosting the Brandon Wheat Kings. Tonight, the Moose Jaw Warriors continued their swing in the States with a stop in Portland. SJHL, Yorkton, home to Estevan. Weyburn Red Wings are at the Humboldt Broncos. National Hockey League Canadian teams. Vancouver, Ottawa, 6 p.m. Montreal's in Washington. Calgary's in Columbus with their new coach, Rick Bowness. Edmonton is in Nashville. Winnipeg Jets host the Islanders, needing points bad. And the Maple Leafs, back-to-back nights, they're in Utah. It is for the Switch to Reliance event. On right now, $200 cash back with your new water heater. Some conditions apply. Call on Reliance. That is hour 1 in the books. Hour 2 coming up. Don sticking around. We got Glen Suitor coming up and PumpJacks Cathedral Trivia. 150 on the line today. It is a Sports Cage. We'll be back after the news.
This is 620 CKRM Regina, the voice of Saskatchewan, a Harvard media station. Streaming everywhere at 620CKRM.com.
It's 4 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Corey Atkinson from the SaskToday.ca newsroom with your 620 CKRM news for Bronco Plumbing and Heating, where professional service is guaranteed. They'll treat you right. 781-2090. Several people were sent to hospital after a school bus carrying a number of children rolled this morning on Highway 10. At 8:35 a.m., Swan River RCMP were called out to the scene, about 13 kilometers south of Mafeking. Mounties say 4 patients were taken to hospital with significant but non-life-threatening injuries, while other multiple children were taken to hospital after being treated for injuries at the scene. Manitoba RCMP say more information will be provided as it becomes available. When an event like the Western Canadian Crop Production Show has been around for decades, there's bound to be whispers of expansion. Agriculture Manager Leanne Hurlbert says those talks are happening behind the scenes, but not yet.
We're always asking our CEO for more space, so it's always in my wish list, and I know Prairieland's always looking to grow, so in the future, we're always looking to the future, so you will see changes in the future.
Held at Prairieland Park in Saskatoon, the show occupies more than 240,000 square feet of space and has 340 exhibitors this year. The show gets underway today and wraps up on Thursday. Saskatchewan's Ag Minister is hopeful there will be positive developments on canola and yellow pea tariffs following Prime Minister Carney's state visit to China this week. David Merritt spoke to reporters this morning at the Sask Crops Conference in Saskatoon.
You know, the Premier was there not, just a few months ago, really, and to be asked to go back again, my optimism would probably be on the higher end now that there's going to be some resolve, if not immediate, probably in the very near future. I would have to think for the Prime Minister to be going that they probably think that there's some end to this. And
China imposed heavy tariffs on canola seed, canola oil, canola meal, and yellow peas last year in retaliation for Canadian tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles and steel in 2024. Canola and pea prices have dropped substantially over the past year due to the lack of sales to China. The federal and Saskatchewan governments are investing $9.7 million in new crop research to support farmers and strengthen the agriculture sector. Funding will support 39 projects through the Agriculture Development Fund and targeted research into herbicide-resistant weeds. The projects focus on issues like drought tolerance, irrigation, pest management, and sustainable farm materials. Ministers say research investments help farmers adapt to challenges, improve efficiency, and remain competitive. The funding is part of a larger national effort to support innovation and long-term growth in agriculture. A two-vehicle crash in Craven on Monday evening has left a 65-year-old Regina woman dead, according to Lumsden RCMP. Officers say an SUV and a car collided on Highway 20 around 6:30 p.m. The woman, who was a passenger in the SUV, died at the scene. The drivers of both vehicles were taken to a hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. RCMP say the investigation is ongoing, with help from a collision reconstructionist. That is your 620 CKRM News. Read more stories from around your community and around the province at sasktoday.ca and 620ckrm.com.
Brought to you by Line X Regina, Serious Protection Killer Lux, 1865 McCarra Street. Weather tonight, mostly cloudy, low down to -5, partly sunny tomorrow in the afternoon and a high of +1. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy, and we're going to get windy out of the northwest, 25 gusting up to 45, low down to -3. Thursday, thickening cloud cover, light snow developing in the area, high of -1, but it will be windy out of the northwest, 25 to 50 gusts. Up to 70 later in the day. Friday, partly sunny and windy, high of -10. Saturday, partly sunny, light snow later in the day, and a high of -2. Currently, downtown Regina, mostly cloudy. It is +2, feels like -3.
For 40 years, the team from Line X Regina has been protecting vehicles across Saskatchewan, and we're changing with the times. 3 generations of our family have protected your vehicles. Our business has evolved, and we're not stopping now. The next generation is here. Same family, same commitment, ready for the next generation of truck beds, rocker panels, trailers, bumpers, and running boards in all kinds of colors. Line X Regina, 1865 McCarra Street, the next generation of protective coatings.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sports Cage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Sask Lotteries, bringing communities together. Sask Lottery products fund over 12,000 sports, culture, and recreation groups across Saskatchewan. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Back for another hour on the Sports Cage. Thanks for making time, however you're listening or taking it in today. Could be watching the YouTube stream through sportscage.com. You see my co-host there, the Professor Don Hewitt, is with me. Colson's on the other side of the board. You can also listen on all the audio feeds out there. Podcast form later if you missed any of it. And of course, we're always on 620 CKRM. Not sure if we got any other radio affiliates yet. We're efforting, is what I'd say. Tevaughn Campbell was in hour 1. Talk to him. We are going to replay that in hour 3 if you missed it. The winter meetings are ongoing in Calgary, Alberta. We do have some audio to play from that. Stuart Johnston is talking tomorrow. Interested to hear what Stu's got to say. I'm waiting for that TV deal to come down as well. Is it just going to be a TSN thing? Are they looking at some streaming partners? Anybody else picking anything? I can't see Sportsnet doing anything. So still more to come on that. PumpJacks Cathedral trivia later this hour. $150 on the line to PumpJacks Cathedral. The question will be based around Tevaughn Campbell. You're going to need your dialing fingers ready. 936-6262. 1-866-767-0620. 20. Prairieland text line is open. I do see some text messages there that I'll get to in a bit. But first, we bumped him up an hour. Let's go talk to Glen Suitor and press coverage. He's out on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Perfect pizza, generous amount of toppings. No need to cook. Colson's telling me did I do something wrong on my throw to news, or what? What were you chuckling about there, sir?
Well, it had to be me, Barney. It was clearly me not explaining what I meant by transparency in salaries and my concern with them, because my concern with them has really nothing. It really has nothing to do with, the low guy on the totem pole that is getting minimum wage and how he feels about that, or how he feels about that becoming public. That has nothing to do with it for me. It's because once you sign a pro contract, the team owns that contract. So they can if the rule is it's transparent, then it's transparent. There's nothing you can do about it, and who cares? The reason I brought it up as a concern is more to do with how we somehow value the quality of a player or the quality of an actor or sometimes the quality of a president based on how much money he has. And that has really nothing to do with it. I mean, I heard, Don, you talk about the creation of more discussion and debate. And I've always said it doesn't matter if a guy was really good in the negotiation room and created a great contract for himself. Let's say it's a D lineman that has created a top end, highest paid player in the league contract. And then he goes out in the first half of the season and doesn't register one sack. And we start saying, well, he's getting paid too much and the production isn't there. And the contract and how much he gets paid, to me, is completely separate. I mean, you get more as you play better. There's no question about that. But once you have that contract and they're paying you to play football, your performance now, I don't think, how many fans in the NFL love the NFL because there's millionaires they're watching? Probably a lot of them.
I think it impresses them, yes. I'd say.
So to me,
that's true.
To me, that doesn't impress me. If you sky for a football and intercept it in midair with one hand, that's impressive. That's cool. That's exciting. I really don't care how much you get paid, honestly. Like, this is Colson's all over it. Look at this.
Yeah, look, Colson, brilliant Colson.
Like he should get a raise. He should get a raise. We're watching the on the stream the interception by Carter Jr.
And he's going to the NFL tryout as a result of that.
He should get paid more money for that game for doing that. It should be like senior hockey. You get paid per game, and then maybe by goal or all that, or it could just be like life in Canada. Yeah. The harder you work, the better you are. The more you go to school, the more tax you pay. So then those people should just have to give more money back to the CFL coffers somewhere somehow.
And we are all pulled right back into the middle or below the middle.
Let's be like Norway then, because they have lots of money. And speaking of presidents that have lots of money, also we could put prime ministers in there that are worth about $7 million USD from central banking jobs and different stuff like that. I just wanted to throw that out there. But my second question, I got to back up because I'm going to go way off base here, but that's what I do. That's okay. Have you ever seen a real life totem pole? Because you talked about totem poles. And low man on the totem pole. And I always think when people use that term, because you're in the Pacific Northwest, like, have you seen them out there, like the real ones?
Many times. And in fact, I know years ago, I probably shouldn't use that term anymore, but I know years ago that it was explained to me how they are, the importance of each figure on the
visual record of family lineage, crests, histories, myths, significant. Because they used to have one outside of Fluff and Stuff in Waskesiu, and as a kid, I always thought it was fascinating. And then the lady that owned that and got rid of it, she put it in front of her cabin up there, which I had no idea until my daughter started her dog walking business. And then she walked the dog for that lady, and I'm like, oh, that is the totem pole from when I was a kid. I can't believe it's right here. Anyway, way off sideways. Yeah. I think they're fascinating.
Yeah, so do I, and I didn't mean any disrespect by it. I certainly was looking at but you're right. We all have to be very conscious of how we describe things. But if the concern for me, back to the discussion is that there are a lot of people that like to kick our game. I don't get it. I'll never understand it, but that's fine. That's the way it is, and the stoic in me says I can't control what they say or do, so I'll just step by and be indifferent to it. But when they know that the minimum wage is $40,000, all of a sudden in their mind, the value of the sport and the value of the league drops to a point where they don't believe it's worth paying to go see. And that's my concern with transparency and salaries.
I get that. That part about, they make more millions in the NFL and whatnot. But I guess my point is I always, by being more transparent, I believe we'll eventually end up with more discussions and controversy and more chatter. That's sort of the way I see it. I don't, like what the league is doing right now. Well, they're talking about the league. That's step one. I've always countered with negative comments are really, really bad at times with at least they're talking about it sort of idea. You hear lots of, say, the scheduling that the NFL just did in the last day for the games and the time off that some teams have and some teams don't have. It was really roundly criticized by some big media people in the NFL and whatnot. The teams won't say anything, but it was all negative as to what the NFL did with their scheduling this upcoming weekend. But guess what? Everybody was talking about it. And I just go back to these rule changes. Now I'm really rambling, Glen and Barney, but I go back to these rule changes and I think, look, this commissioner was brought in because franchise values weren't going up. There were still too many empty seats in the stadiums. That's why he was brought in. And that doesn't mean that the CFL wasn't exciting last year. It was exciting for most, probably 80% of the games were good, which is a really high ratio, and the playoffs were good. It doesn't mean that this changes because the game wasn't exciting. I mean, one guy just said I was talking in circles, didn't he, Barney? Somebody just texted in. But what it means, though, is, okay, it's got to be better, even though it wasn't bad, if that makes any, and it was entertaining, if that makes any sense.
There's no question, Don, that you always have to kind of find new ways to keep fans engaged, especially today with phones and all the distractions and everything. So there's no question, and gambling and fantasy, all of that. And and there maybe is an argument for transparency in salaries when it comes to fantasy. Maybe it's tied into how you build your team based on your your hypothetical. So there is positive reasons for that. And your thought on any news, as long as we're talking, is good news. I think that's when you're the NFL and that juggernaut, it's quite a different sort of, league to compare to any other league. No, forget it. Even the NHL, it's not close. This is a $1 trillion league that don't really care about criticism or whatever, and they're going to do what they're going to do. Our fan-driven league, the fans' opinions are important, and the narratives are important. How many times have I criticized commissioners on this show or many others too, and sometimes on the air on TSN as well? I've given you my honest opinions many times when it comes to rule changes, things I liked and didn't like. I watch the NFL, watched a couple playoff games, the 49ers and your Patriots, Barney. I watched that game, and by the way, the Patriots defense won that game for them big time. They played great.
They did.
But when I look at there's things that I don't like about the NFL and things I think they do really well. The one thing that I think we can learn from them is when there's a penalty called, the refs make that decision and call it in seconds, in literally 10, 15 seconds. It doesn't disrupt the game when there's a penalty, even a big penalty like PI. The other thing I noticed in playoff games, the PI standard is completely different than in our league.
It is.
Almost every PI call I watched, I said that wasn't called, that they went back and looked and they said, well, it was close, whatever. All of those I would have said that's going to be a penalty flag in our game.
I agree. No doubt.
I hope in these winter meetings, Don, that they go and talk about that and their standard and pass interference and let these guys compete down the field and not just throw it every time there's a little bit of contact. And Tevaughn Campbell would love this conversation too.
Yeah.
So my take isn't changing on when it comes to the rules, and you watch an NFL game, I think even if you watch an NHL game, we're in 2025. Let's use everything we have. And I get that the people that are like, leave it up to the refs on the field, leave it up. Why? You're not going to go to a rotary dial phone with a cord on it if you got one that's right here. Like, let's have 3 guys in a booth like the NFL does for every game. Heck, 2 guys. I'll do it for free for a year, to be honest. And then you make the call on the field, and then one of us is listening to Glen Suitor and everybody in the other ear watching the game. Then the other we could be watching a monitor on the other one to give our own look at it. And you're listening to really smart Glen, who watches a lot of football. You're watching it, and then whatever the ref said, within 15 seconds you can go and radio down and be like, hey, Jim, pick up that flag. No flag on the play. No flag on the play. First down. That's what the NFL does. It's not like these guys are geniuses. Well, NFL or NHL officials, when they make a call and they have the linesmen and they're going to huddle and they're looking at the screen, the 2 linesmen, and they have earpieces in as well. So you got that, and you have the guys radioing down. You think these guys are just magicians that they go, oh, no goal, or it hit off something and the puck went out of play? Like, do you honestly think the fast way that the NHL moves, that those guys make that call? No, we use what's in front of us to make the right call. So if you start going and you got some guy in a Chesterfield sitting there making the call and it's going to take him 8 minutes, no. It's got to be done quick. And in 2025, we have the capabilities, we have the technology. You put someone in there with half a brain, football, and I think you're also listening to the broadcasters, because you're not smarter than the room. If you got 5 people and they all say, well, that's not pass interference, or even if 4 guys, 4 of the 5 say not pass interference, then just go with that. Don't overthink it.
So, Glenn,
that was my rant. I'm not really a rant guy, but that was my rant.
That was a good rant. Do you think that this whole thing do you think the replay center discussion going on in Calgary right now, then, gentlemen, is it all about speed? Is that what it's about? Is it about the speed?
I think it can be about both.
Don, I hope there's and right now, Barney, to your point, they do that now. They can in real time radio from Toronto and see it on replay, and in real time radio the head ref and say, pick up the flag. We've seen that happen, and it happens in the NFL. I saw it a couple of times on pass interference, for sure. There was a penalty flag on the field. They went back and quickly looked, and within seconds the on-field official said, no flag on the play, let's keep going, and the ball is placed and away they go. So I think that the problem is when you switch it to the replay center calling penalties. So you're on the field and nothing by the on-field officials, they see nothing wrong. There's a big play like a touchdown throw, and the replay center comes in and says, oh, wait a minute, or let's say it's an interception for a touchdown, and the replay center comes in and said, wait a minute, the defensive lineman's hand brushed the helmet of the quarterback, and that whole play, we're stopping it. I know there was no flag on the field. We're stopping it because we think from Toronto on a video replay, we think that's a penalty. I think you get into
understandable, but
you do that.
let's go with the same situation then. An interception down the field. Okay? Let's say said defensive back actually was out of bounds at the start of the play. Maybe it's a go route, a fade. Somehow that defensive back hit the sideline. He was out of bounds, came back into play, makes the interception, runs it back for 6. That play should be called by somebody. He's basically an illegal player. That play can't stand. The brushing of a head. I think everybody's adults. You could sit down with the guys and go, all right, let's not overthink this. Let's go with common sense. Where's the line that we're going to call this from above because it affects the game and it's blatant? A guy holding a guy, extra jostling down there's the line there, right? I think if it's something egregious or the ball hits the ground, no one can see it on the field.
That, Barney, that is your line. That you just outlined the line in the sand is anything that is cut and dry and has either a yes or no. He was either inbounds or out of bounds. Then the replay center should come in real time and say, guys, he stepped out of bounds. You got to bring the ball back. That because that is not subjective.
Yes.
A penalty.
Yes.
A penalty is subjective.
Thank you.
And no matter how many times we sit in a room, there could be 10 of us. We will disagree on whether or not a penalty when he touched his head or grabbed his arm or a little bit of pushing or whatever it might have been. We're going to disagree, and the room is going to disagree, and often the replay center disagrees. So, within that room, and then there's one guy in charge, and he's got to make the call. So I think there is a line there with, just in or out of bounds, fumble or no fumble, complete or incomplete. All of those things are, right there.
I don't want to contradict myself too much, though, because to the same point, I do think that, and it just can happen so quick with technology and the number of eyeballs on something, that if an official, let's go back to the go route. It's a go route, and the guys are jostling, and that referee thinks he sees a blatant tug, even though they're both hand fighting. He sees a blatant tug, or he holds the guy's arm down. You know what? Throw the flag. So then Jim scampers over to head ref Tom, and they talk about it. He goes, I think I saw his hand pulled down, da-da-da. Within that 10 seconds, you could have somebody, and I think that's what you said they're doing right now, which I wasn't totally aware of how they're doing it. In that instance, no, pick the flag up. There was nothing there. Okay, I'm wrong. He's human. He's not going to be right all the time. It does happen, and you're right. It absolutely does happen. And we're talking about, as our example, pass interference, which is a point of foul penalty. So that means that can be a 90-yard penalty. That could be a 75-yard penalty. Those are game-changing differences. Are you okay with a penalty flag being thrown, have it picked up, or have a penalty called from the replay center, or a holding at the line of scrimmage, or a guy that holds a receiver in his jam inside of 5 yards a little too long, or all of these things that happen every single play that, because they're subjective, some people look at it, depending on what color goggles you're wearing, you're looking at it going, that was definitely a penalty. Why didn't they call it? I think we get into a lot of muddied waters, and the replay center becoming so intrusive into games that it really affects game flow. And Johnson, he wants to make sure game flow is improved. That's part of these whole rule changes.
Oh, absolutely.
To improve game.
Yep.
So we have to.
So Ryan,
I think our goal. I think our goal, Barney, is simple. The goal should be in these meetings. How do we get less penalty flags? How do we stop the game less than we are right now? 14 penalties between the two teams is too many. How do we cut that down to 7 between both teams? Because you cut our game with 3 downs and passing to 7 penalties total in the whole game, man, it'll fly by and the excitement level goes through the roof.
Well, here's a question. Are there less flags in the NFL? I don't even know the answer than there are in a CFL game. I don't know the answer.
It depends.
Yeah, it depends. The game I watched, there certainly was. It must have been close. Like there was lots of penalty flags in those games, and in that first one with the Eagles, lots of drop passes too. I noticed, but no, I think it's pretty close overall. I remember talking to the head of stats at the CFL who tracks all of this, and said it was within 1 or 2 penalties per game.
Okay. So it's how to deal with them more than.
But Don, you don't notice it as much in the NFL, do you?
No, you don't. Absolutely not.
That's what I'm talking about.
I noticed a garbage football game last night for 90% of it. That's what I noticed. So I'm not going to get into the whole CFL NFL thing. I don't like playing that game. Great product down there. Games are exciting. Tons of money behind it. Is that a good thing or bad thing? Let's be honest. It makes the world go around. Some things it makes it bigger. The gambling aspect, you're not getting rid of that anytime soon. Embrace it. It's here. Or pickleball's your sport. The CFL is exciting. Unless I'm wrong, all the CFL playoff games this year were exciting. We saw one dud in all the NFL ones this weekend. Like last night was awful. Excitement. I am paying someone money out of my pocket or my card to be entertained, whether it's a concert or an athletic event, any kind of entertainment, a comedian. I want to be entertained, right? Now, the CFL, if you can sit here and just because if it's a lesser league, I don't want Canadians to now all of a sudden not be comfortable in their skin. It is what it is. It's bigger and powerful, and it's big down there. Our league's still awesome, and it is pound for pound as entertaining if it's the entertainment value that you want. Just like if you went to where's my sheets? Right here. I guarantee that if you would have went to Hafford versus Lemberg, that 6-a-side provincial final this year in football, you would have been just as entertained as any football game you'll watch all year. I don't care if Baby or whoever's doing the halftime show or whoever's doing entertainment-wise, good football is good football. Good hockey is good hockey.
Oh, that's right.
I just want to be entertained. Personally, just me, if I can gamble on it, I love it. Because I like to sprinkle. I think gambling makes everything a little more interesting. My kids are still taken care of. We're still eating tonight. I'm not losing, I just like a little bit here. Just like some people like a dart and a big gulp when they wake up in the morning. Yeah, it bogs down our healthcare system, whatever. Until that changes, go nuts. You do you. I like to sprinkle a little bit.
You know what I'm interested in? I think Stuart Johnson has brought up more topics for discussion than past commissioners. There's way more topics. Danny Machocha was saying he didn't like some of these things. Mace was saying, I've rethought a few things. So with all that's going on, Glen and Calgary, with more topics being discussed in these rule changes, do you think people are getting along behind closed doors? Do you think it's possible that there's maybe more friction of opinion because there's so much more that they're talking about?
Passion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be under that category of passion. And now that they've had time to sort of absorb what strategically might change with these rule changes for coaches, now they probably have a lot more questions that are more to the point, like, wait a minute, what does that mean when I'm on between the 40-yard line and the 30-yard line or the 25-yard line now? What does that mean for my strategy?
Situational questions, for sure.
Yes. And because of, sort of some uncomfortable coaches saying, wait a minute, that's going to change much more drastically than I first thought. Now that's where these questions, and that's what these meetings are about. That's what really they are about. I think originally there was some tension when football people weren't consulted prior to football decisions being made in the league. And I want to be specific on that because it's not, the commissioner can come in and put his stamp on it immediately and his ideas, and that's why they make this decision, right? But I think there was some concern early when coaches weren't consulted and they were football things that were happening, changes. Now, you were right, Don, when you talked about the media angle and that Stuart Johnson didn't want this to be debated before he was announcing it and how he would form the narrative and explain why he wanted to do these things and change and make these changes. And that's why I've said that, because they don't really hit the four pillars to me of the game and what makes it unique, then I'm interested to see how it unfolds. I really am. It doesn't mean I'm crazy about them all. I'm not crazy about the fact that we might not see missed field goal return for a touchdown ever again. I'm not crazy about that.
I think that's the one drawback, that particular point.
Yeah.
Look at JJ messaged in. Like there are people though that are passionate about that play and they love it and all that. I get it. I think it's a great play as well. For me personally, I weigh what they're doing and go, I'm willing to sacrifice that, for maybe better here. Maybe there's more third down gambles. If that happens with what they say and what the data shows, I'm married to a data freak. If it happens, okay. I do this for a living. I'm not there making those decisions. Change, we'll see. I don't know. We're up against the clock, though. Yeah. You might have to come on every time at this hour, and we just talk for an hour.
Well, I love it. We'll do it. I'm in. But this is and this is one thing I noticed in the NFL playoffs. There are some changes that I look at in the kicking game and things, and I go, ugh, just it's ugly. But I know the reasons that they did it, and I'm noticing in the NFL more fourth down gambles than I've noticed before. And it used to be fourth down gamble in plus territory was one thing, like when you were way deep. But now they're up there at their 40-yard line going in, that they're gambling on fourth down.
You know why?
And 4th and 1, 4th and 2, and they're going for it.
Because the data shows the percentages of make to not make is worth the risk. That's where analytics comes into play.
Yeah. So maybe these changes do that, and but let me quickly before we go. I'm glad that people are as passionate as they are, and that they are like Nathan Rourke, who is as passionate as he is, and speaking up and saying, "Hey, I love our game. Don't mess with it too much because it's so exciting." And that's great. That's the heartbeat of our whole league. Those people. And good on you. And us that are in the business of it, we will be keeping notes. Believe me, I will be keeping notes. I will be looking at the changes. I will be analyzing them with all the numbers and the stats. And if it is not doing what they said it was doing, if it's creating a whole bunch more angled punts, then we'll talk about that too.
Mm-hmm.
To your point, Don, we'll talk about it.
Maybe they'll change.
Yep.
All right. We went long today.
We could go an hour. I don't think we're just touching the surface.
You're on curfew. You're supposed to be gone 6 minutes ago.
I wanted to see Glen though.
You're gonna get in trouble. Hey, you and I get to do this again on Thursday, buddy, and we get to talk to Stu talks tomorrow, so we can dissect all that. Let's do that. Talk to you then.
Sounds good, guys. Appreciate it.
See you, Glen.
Hey, congrats on your Patriots.
Well, it's one game. Yeah. One game, man. Hey, on to Houston. Glen Suitor, press coverage, joining us here. We are up against the clock. We got Clutch Performer coming up. It is the Sports Cage on 620 CKRM.
Karen explains why she is comfortable investing her money with Brian Golly of Smart Investing Solutions.
I don't have to worry about it. Once I do it, I know it's looked after, and I have seen good success as well in our investment. He's very knowledgeable, he's very trustworthy, and he wants the best for his clients.
Don't guess with your money. Call Brian at 306-546-2533. SmartInvestingSolutions.ca.
Looking for the best gear at the best price? Extreme Hockey and Sport just raised the bar. Now, with a price match guarantee, find the same product anywhere else, show the price, and they'll match it. The gear you need, the service you trust, and the price you want. Why settle for anything less? Get the local loyalty and the price match guarantee only at Extreme Hockey. Any budget, expert fit. Your local sit and fit hockey shop. Extreme Hockey and Sport, 1425 McIntyre Street, Regina's Hockey Shop.
Proven by countless farmers, 900 Series fence sprayers set the standard for your crops, and it's available at Nick's Service in Emerald Park. Featuring 370 horsepower, 132-foot boom, 1,580-gallon tank, smart drive 4-wheel steering, and liquid logic recirculating boom, the 900 Series fence sprayers are backed by a 3-year, 2,000-hour Gold Star warranty. Leaders drive Fendt. To learn more about making your crops successful, visit Nick's Service today, nickservice.com.
The Sportscage Clutch Performer for Nick's Service in Emerald Park. Your local Massey Ferguson Challenger, Rogator, Gleaner, and Fendt dealer. Call 781-1077.
That is Clutch Performer time. My first one. I'm going to throw it out there. And if you're from Regina, in Regina, you know this place. Vong Pham. Sorry if I hacked up your first name. He's the owner of Country Corner Donuts on Dudney and Broad, I guess that is. Fire the other night. Alarms went off. He rushed down in the middle of the night, possibly in a robe or pajamas. He put out the fire himself. And he says he's going to rebuild, and then they're going to be back open. And I know a lot of people, it's like... history/tradition and institution is the word I'm looking for in Regina. Country Corner Donuts, Vong Pham, owner. He's one of my Clutch performers. Put out the fire himself. Got down there. I'd like to know how far he lives away from there. To get down there and start putting out fire.
I saw in an interview he said he's like 10, 15 away.
Wow.
So yeah,
speed.
Got the alarm notification, whatever, and was like, yeah, I'll be right there.
Okay, do you have the video, if people watching on the stream, of 16-year-old Cole Kuhn?
I am working on it right now because it's a phone video and that messes with our stuff. But
anyways.
I'll have it right here actually now.
I'll brief it. 16-year-old, for people on the radio, he's 16 years old. His name is Cole Kuhn. He is 16 years old. He's 6'6", 197 pounds. We'll round it up to 200. He's the pride of Elkins Park, Pennsylvania, committed to Duke, 2027 eligible Major League Baseball draft. Why is he a Clutch performer? Because the 16-year-old, that's 6'6", and the video, if you're watching the stream, he threw 101.7 miles an hour. 16.
That is nuts.
You know what I was doing at 16?
Not throwing 100-mile baseballs.
Worried about hiding magazines. 101.7 miles an hour, 16. He's 6'6". That's 60. Oh, jeez. Clutch performer for Nick's Service in Emerald Park, your local Massey Ferguson Challenger, Rogator, Gleaner, and Fendt dealer. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about the Olympic rink. Oh,
my Clutch performer.
I thought
I'm just squeezing it in here. I'm sure.
Is it a phone video?
No, it's not a phone video. A little easier to download. Anyone watch the Red Wings game last night?
Sergei Fedorov hugged Vladimir Konstantinov.
Well, that's one of them. But I was like coming out in a Corvette on the ice, like classy by the Red Wings.
That's like old school Corvette too.
Yeah,
that's deep V-neck gold chain Corvette guy.
Yeah, so just the whole ceremony and then honoring him, I would say. Absolutely Clutch performer. But then,
What kind of tires do they have on that thing? That'd be sketchy driving that on the ice.
I'm sure they ran the Zamboni after a few times.
No, just the slipping and sliding. And no, there it is. Yeah, Sergei Fedorov, man, was that guy smooth in a lot of different ways. retired his jersey. Some guy had the skates to make it look like his.
I think they all were wearing them.
Were they all wearing them?
Yeah, they deckled the skates so they were white.
Pretty cool. Nick Service in Emerald Park, sponsor of the Clutch Performer, your local Massey Ferguson, Challenger, Rogator, Gleaner, and Fent dealer. Okay, let's go. Come back. Olympic talk, Olympic rink talk, PumpJacks Cathedral trivia. You're going to have to dial 936-6262, $150 on the line. It is a Sports Cage, streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com.
Get it hot, get it fast, Western Pizza.
The days are shorter, it's colder out, you're heading home, and your stomach is making that sound like it's sucking up to your spine. How about a delicious Western pizza? Imagine it, a golden, crispy crust holding a mountain of melty cheese, savory pepperoni, fresh veggies, and that perfect drizzle of sauce. Every bite is warm and exactly what your cold, hungry self ordered. Western Pizza. Dine in or take out today, before your stomach starts making demands.
And get it hot, get it fast, Western Pizza.
Sask Lotteries has over 50 years of winning behind us. And you know what that means? Lots of winning numbers. Numbers like over 1,200 organizations funded and 12,000 plus groups supported. $6 million given away annually in community grants. And the winningest number of all? $1.4 billion given back to the people of Saskatchewan through sport, culture, and recreation. And we're just getting started. Learn more at sasklotteries.ca.
Welcome back to Sports Cage. Connect with the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262.
Colson says start calling right now. PumpJacks Cathedral trivia, 936-6262. We'll get you in queue. He's going to pick somebody from that. The question's going to be based on Tevaughn Campbell's NFL career. Okay? There we go. 936-6262. It's coming up. It's like every day we're getting new updates from the Olympic hockey rink over in Italy. If you haven't seen this on social media in the last 24 hours, the dressing rooms. Colson, do you have the pictures of the dressing rooms? Colson's on the phone right now. There it is. It is, if you're listening on the radio, it's basically looks like a sea can, or it looks like your buddy's basement that isn't finished. And then they might have had marital problems, and then one of them moved out, and then they're not finishing the basement. It's got metal studs everywhere. You got to go back to that, Colson. Just keep it on a loop. What does anyone see plumbing in these? That's what I was wondering about. I see some cords hanging out of the wall. I don't see plumbing. So then, I don't know how much Dave and Tegan talked about this yesterday. It's not entitled hockey players, yada, yada, yada. These are NHL players going to the Olympics. They are used to standards, yes. Now, if they are forced to... You ever played hockey in a small town and it's like one dressing room, the shower didn't work, so you had to go to the other one or whatever? Are we looking at that here? How much... Here's the question, and I'll maybe ask Eric this tomorrow. How important is the equipment staff and equipment managers going to be at this tournament now? Getting bags in and out, getting stuff aired out, getting stuff skates sharpened, all of it. How important are those guys going to be? The outside of the rink looks beautiful. No doubt about it. But, it's good from far, far from good. Do you look like that? Look at that. That looks like a nice building if you're watching the stream. It kind of looks like Credit Union Center in Saskatoon with a few extra rings and more modern. Credit Union Center is still a nice facility from the outside. I'll debate that with anybody. Now, do you have the one from inside, Colson? Because they played the test games in there. The inside, the thing that cracks me up, besides the neutral zone being much like the Optimist in Regina or Archibald in Saskatoon, Where did they get that score clock from? Like, it looks oddly small. It looks like they just rammed Boxing Day sales from Audio Warehouse TVs, put 4 of them together and strung them up to the roof. And then the roof doesn't look fully, completely go hip. But the score clock is so small. They're probably not going to admit it at this point because there's been too many things that have been screwed up. But somebody definitely screwed up the dimensions of the scoreboard. Maybe it's the same guy that was working on the ice. Probably not. But they have to. Can someone please do a docu-series on this whole thing when it's all said and done? Those locker rooms, a bench and a hook. Can they get by? Yes, for sure. But we can also drive with our feet, and we don't. Where's the plumbing? Like, I hope there's an update tomorrow on things, because I am just floored. It looks like an unfinished basement with a kind of a sea can feel. And how many days out are we till they actually, like, so the test games were on. We should try and find someone, Colson, to get him on that played in the games. That's what I might do tonight with time change and everything. I'll try and dig up somebody that was in playing skating on there.
Day 1 of the Olympics is February 6th, and I think the women's hockey, I think, is starting on the 6th or the 8th, and then the men's, I think, is on the 12th to the 14th.
Roscoe on the text line said Federico will bring buckets. Sponge baths for everybody. Yay. Leonard saying why. I get the joke, Leonard. I love it. I can't read some of these text messages. The gooch. PumpJacks? Okay, play the intro.
It's time for Sportscage Trivia for PumpJacks. Great food, cold local draft, and a place that feels like home.
Okay, here we go. PumpJacks Cathedral, Kerwin crispy ribs. That's what you got to remember if you're going there, if you're a dry rib fan like me. They also got taps. Heard they run a nice, a beef dip sandwich as well. Located Albert Street and 13th in Regina. Dan is on the line. Dan, you ready to play for 150 smackers today?
You bet I am.
All right, here we go. The question is, I'm going to ad-lib this. I don't have it written down, but I know what I want to say. Tevaughn Campbell's NFL career, it's based around that. Now, one of his NFL touchdowns came on an interception from this New York Jets quarterback. Dan, you got 10 seconds to name that New York Jets quarterback.
Oh.
He's played for a lot of teams. I'll give you a hint. This guy. And
I know who you're talking about.
And he still played this year, kind of. Take a stab in the dark. Don't say Joe Namath.
Jeez.
Stab in the dark.
Who's Pittsburgh's quarterback right now?
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
No, unfortunately, you're wrong. Dan, you still get a lunch from PumpJacks Cathedral. Thanks for playing along. Thanks for calling. Stay on the line. Colson is going to take your information. That means next week.
Thanks, Barney.
We're playing for $200 next week. You can always hold a banquet for a team with 200. PumpJacks Cathedral. Live music on the weekends. Kids are allowed until 8. Wing night coming up tomorrow. I haven't gone to a good wing night in a while. I thought about that the other day. Maybe in January, maybe February, I'll hit a wing night up. Joe Flacco was the answer. He actually, where's the info? Right here. It was week 11, 2019. Campbell intercepted a pass thrown by Joe Flacco. Returned it for a 6-yard touchdown during the 34-28 win. This was Campbell's first NFL interception and touchdown. Cool. Break time. Into ticker. We'll have some winter meetings audio as well. It is a Sports Cage streaming through our YouTube channel. If you want to watch along, at sportscage.com.
The pink mineral was front and center in the news in 1976. I'm Andrew Dawson with 100 years of CKRM. In 1976, the government took over the potash industry in Saskatchewan, creating Potash Corp of Saskatchewan as a crown corporation. Now, this generated a ton of debate, both politically and in the business community, as some business groups were opposed. PCS started with very humble beginnings in its first fiscal year from 1976 to 77. By the end of that time, the company had acquired 2 mines, the Duval Mine and the Sylvite Mine, renamed the Corrie Division and the Rocanville Division, respectively, and had increased its production capacity from 0 to the second largest producer in North America with over 540,000 tons. PCS merged with Agrium to form Nutrien in September of 2016 and remains based in Saskatchewan. Learn more about 100 years of CKRM at 620ckrm.com.
When the rut kicks in, there's no room for second chances. Get locked, get loaded. That's where Cash Tactical comes in. Brands like Browning and Winchester firearms, award-winning Vortex optics, and a full selection of ammunition. Start with gear that's as tough as you are. Cash Tactical, Regina's hunting, fishing, and camping headquarters. 2176 7th Ave in the Warehouse District.
Out here, business still begins with a conversation, a handshake, a look in the eye, a moment that can change everything. At Canada's Farm Show, Regina, Saskatchewan, presented by Bunge, those moments turn into partnerships that last season after season. Meet the producers planning their next harvest and the companies ready to help them grow. March 17th to 19th at Real District in Regina, Canada's Farm Show, where big deals grow. Visit Canada's Farm Show, reginask.ca today.
It's planting season again. Is your equipment up to the job? Is it up to the hardcore tilling and towing? Is it ready for all the other challenging jobs that pop up around the farm? Because Kloss tractors are ready. From the mid-range tractors like the Axion and Arion series to the high-powered Xerion series, Kloss delivers equipment that fits your farm and its unique needs, plus parts and service support that keep you running. Find out how Kloss delivers performance, power, and precision. Contact us to learn more or schedule a demo.
It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Extreme Hockey and Sports, Regina's locally owned one-stop hockey shop. Now with a price match guarantee. 1425 McIntyre Street.
Start with the NHL and the Canadian teams. Vancouver in Ottawa take on the Senators. Montreal's in Washington. Calgary at Columbus. Edmonton travels to Nashville. Winnipeg is home to the New York Islanders. Toronto Maple Leafs are in Utah, coming off an overtime win last night. SJHL report comes up on Thursday on this program, brought to you by Chad Reach with Benny Walchuk. Estevan's in Yorkton. That should be a dandy. And another good one, Weyburn in Humboldt to take on the Broncos. Western Hockey League, Saskatchewan teams, Prince Albert home to the Brandon Wheat Kings. Moose Jaw continues their U.S. swing in Portland. Brought to you by Extreme Hockey and Sport, home of the price match guarantee. If you're out there shopping around, and if shopping local is your thing, Extreme Hockey and Sport, they'll price match anyone. Now open, Temple Garden Center in Moose Jaw as well. Extreme Hockey and Sport. Okay, the winter meetings. Stu Johnson's talking tomorrow. Yesterday, the coaches and the managers were at it. Since we've been talking about rules a lot, Don was here, Glen and I were talking about rules. Coach Maist was asked if there are any particular points of interest in the rule discussion for him.
All of them. I mean, they're tabling everything. It's, and sometimes going into this, I still, I don't want to say I'm a veteran, that's a JO's been a lot of these, this is on my third one, but, sometimes there's things that come up that, you didn't think that you had too much of an opinion on, and then you realize like, oh man, actually I do. So, just excited to hear everybody's brain, which is, I think, really cool about these these environments is to getting a little bit of piece of everybody's thought process as it pertains to every single topic, man. So I'm excited about everything, to be honest with you.
To the Prairieland Rentals text line, 936-6262. Dean texted in a while ago, I agree with Glen when he says the replay center should only come into play regarding possession calls and not penalties. Dean in Regina. Kind of agree there, but possession calls, does that mean a touchdown, though? If you really miss something on a touchdown, should that be taken back? I would think so. Again, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, just like Ryan messaged in, human error with the refs, right or wrong call makes the game entertaining. Replay ruins the flow of the game, from Ryan. I get that as well. I use the technology that we're supplied in 2026. I said 2025. I can't believe it's 2026. Out of sync with everything that we can do, like other leagues are in 2026. Why not do it? Have you ever thought about why they don't have something in a hockey puck that tells if the puck's over the line in 2026? Like, when you go back to like 1989, or you would have thought in 2026, this will happen in this sport. One of the things is for sure we'd be able to tell if a puck is over the line.
I think maybe with the whole chipping the footballs thing, the players got a hand of it and then just went, no thanks.
We have people eating in space right now. They're living there. We can't figure out a chip in a puck or a ball. I call
the players didn't want it, and that's what the players union's for.
Hey,
I'm not saying we can't.
The players start buying teams, then they can call the shots, is my take. Back to the winter meetings. And we'll hear from Jeremy O'Day here on what he was looking forward to at these meetings in Calgary.
We're just kind of getting into the process of going in to speak about all these rule changes. So a lot of them are probably, my comments on them are probably similar to yours, where I want to know kind of the details of it and more the, the intricacies of what we're talking about. So, I think that some of them are outside the box, which are interesting. I just want to kind of hear what the thoughts are and what the proposed changes are, so that we can kind of have a better opinion of them. So I guess what I'm saying is, there's some interesting ones in there that they had talked about, an American draft, and I'd have a ton of questions on how that would work and who would be in the draft and all those types of things. So I guess that would probably be one for me, is kind of talking a little bit about that. We've had discussions in the past about a negotiation list, and I think that they made the negotiation list public, and now maybe taking a step further to create something there. But that would be one that I'd be interested in, just kind of go through what they're talking about with the American draft.
Maybe hear more from that in hour 3. If you missed the Tevaughn Campbell interview that we did earlier today when Don was with me here, we're going to have that in hour 3. We're going to start the third hour for Saskatchewan Lotteries on this Tuesday with Arash Madani. We will be back after the news.
We are the voice of Saskatchewan. 620 CKRM Regina, a Harvard media station.
It's 5 o'clock. Good evening. I'm Corey Atkinson from the SaskToday.ca newsroom with your 620 CKRM news for Echo Sound in Fort Qu'Appelle. Stay connected with a new cell phone from Echo Sound. Call 306-332-6711 and brought to you by the Capital Automotive Group. Capital's 100K giveaway is back. See capital100k.ca for more information. A school bus rollover south of Mafeking, Manitoba sent 15 people to hospital, including several children. RCMP say the crash happened this morning on Highway 10 when a bus tried to pass another bus, lost control, and rolled. Road conditions were slippery at the time. The bus came to rest upright. 15 people were taken to hospital in Swan River, Manitoba. 4 patients were later airlifted to Winnipeg for further treatment and care. RCMP are continuing to investigate. Canada is sending a full delegation to China to try to resolve crippling tariffs on canola and yellow peas. Those tariffs were set by the Chinese government last year in retaliation for Canadian tariffs on Chinese steel and electric vehicles. Premier Scott Moe and Federal Agriculture Minister Heath MacDonald will accompany Prime Minister Mark Carney on a rare state visit to China this week. Speaking to reporters in Saskatoon this morning, Provincial Ag Minister David Merritt said he was very hopeful.
I would have to think for the Prime Minister to be going that they probably think that there's some end to this, and I'm sure our Premier is going to be having the full discussion about the canola tariffs and the pea tariffs that we're having is the important for the food supply chain and everything, and the impact it's having, not only here to the producers, but for the food that they do also need in China.
Not speculate on whether Canada would have to make concessions on Chinese EV tariffs to reach an agreement on canola and peas. Federal and provincial agriculture ministers have announced $9.7 million to support crop research in Saskatchewan. The funding includes $7.2 million for 39 new projects through the Agriculture Development Fund and $2.5 million for research on herbicide-resistant kochia and wild oats. Ministers say the investment will help farmers face current and future challenges. Research topics include irrigation methods, pest control, crop resilience, and new farm materials. The projects are supported by governments and industry partners with the goal of keeping Saskatchewan farmers competitive, innovative, and productive in a changing agricultural landscape. The Saskatchewan Cattle Association is planning to hold meetings about federal traceability regulations. Traceability is the ability to track movement of livestock from one place to another, which can prove handy in the event of an outbreak, among other things. CEO Christina Betker says the CFIA was considering additional requirements to track movement of cattle from point A to point B, but paused it to get more feedback from stakeholders. While they don't know when that will happen, Betker says they will organize town hall meetings in the near future.
We as industry we're putting together some town hall meetings, which we hope to start rolling out in February. And with those, we're hoping to engage with CFIA at the town halls.
The pause also came in response to public backlash from cattle groups and producers alike. That was your 620 CKRM News. Read more stories from around your community and around the province at sasktoday.ca and 620ckrm.com. Weather is next.
Ever feel like managing your phone, internet, and streaming is like an old ski game? Zigzagging trees, dodging yetis, just trying to level up without wiping out your wallet? Good news! At Echo Sound, your SaskTel authorized dealer, you can glide through it all. New phone? Level up. Faster internet? Power boost. Max TV streaming. Bonus content. No obstacles, no yetis. Just experts who make it easy. Ski smoothly into the new year with SaskTel services. Echo Sound, your SaskTel authorized dealer in Fort Capel. EchoSound.ca.
Capital's 100K giveaway is back for 2026. The Capital Automotive Group is giving away $100,000 in cash and prizes with no strings attached. We're proud to be part of communities across Western Canada, and we know it's those communities that allow us to exist. So every once in a while, once a year to be exact, we're going to say thanks by giving away $100,000 in cash and prizes. To learn more and enter to win, check out capital100k.ca. Capital's 100K giveaway. Do not miss it.
Brought to you by Line X Regina, Serious Protection Killer Lux, 1865 McCarra Street. Matt's Furniture. Visit mattsfurniture.ca.
Mostly cloudy sky through the night. The wind will diminish, becoming nearly calm for the middle part of the night. Cloud cover, though pretty stubborn, nothing more than a couple of passing flurries through the night. Temperature around -5. Some areas may actually dip a little more through the night, then rise back. We get up to 1 degree tomorrow. Partly sunny sky. The wind starts to pick up very slowly. South to southwest, 10 to 20 kilometers per hour through the day. We get into the positive territory and barely drop back Wednesday night. Low around -3 at the coldest. But the wind picks up, and by late Wednesday night into early Thursday morning, winds will start to gust upwards of 50 kilometers per hour. Could go over 70 later in the day. A bit of light snow through the afternoon as well, maybe a centimeter or two. Temperature falls from -1 down into the -teens. -10 is the high on Friday. Cloud and sunshine, a gusty wind continues. Then another round of light snow, a couple of centimeters with that too on Saturday, the high -2. With your 620 CKRM weather forecast, I'm Precision Weather Meteorologist Phil Spivak.
For 40 years, the team from Line X Regina has been protecting vehicles across Saskatchewan, and we're changing with the times. 3 generations of our family have protected your vehicles. Our business has evolved, and we're not stopping now. The next generation is here. Same family, same commitment, ready for the next generation of truck beds, rocker panels, trailers, bumpers, and running boards in all kinds of colors. Line X Regina, 1865 McCarra Street, the next generation of protective coatings.
He's at it again. Matt's sharpening his pencil to save you money at Matt's Furniture. Now till February 4th, it's the New Year Kitchen Suite Savings Event. Buy any 2 qualifying Whirlpool or Maytag kitchen appliances and save an extra $150. Buy 3 or more and save an extra $300. And if you buy 4 or more, you'll save an extra $400. See in store for all the details. Matt's Furniture in Fort Capel, Kamsack, Melville, and Foam Lake, or online at mattsfurniture.ca.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sports Cage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Sask Lotteries, bringing communities together. Sask Lottery products fund over 12,000 sports, culture, and recreation groups across Saskatchewan. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Welcome back, another hour. If you missed any of it, you can go back and listen to it in podcast form. You can watch it on YouTube as well. Been a good show. Don Hewitt was in for the first hour and a half. Discussions, some heated discussions. I was rant guy. I went off kind of rant guy. Little bit. Good participation on the Prairieland Rentals text line as well. Nathan, senior hockey report coming up tomorrow. Stay tuned. Roscoe, I see what you're doing over there. Barry said this. I haven't read this one yet. The CFL coaches' salaries can go up. So I think he's talking about, I don't know what he's talking about there when we had our discussion. But he also said, why is Corey Mace not the defensive coordinator anymore? Because Joshua Bell is capable and Coach Mace is going to worry about the whole scope of things from the coaching front, and it's time to hand it off to somebody else. He's still there, still going to be involved, still can answer questions and help out. No text message. I think it's Daryl. The chip thing or the line thing was already tried in curling with the hog line and the rock, and there were too many discrepancies. It's been banned or abolished. I think the same thing would happen with the puck. Come on, Daryl. There's got to be a way in 2026. There's so much technology nowadays. When you think about the internet and what comes through the internet, when you really break it down, it's mind-boggling. How this video can be streamed through something to somebody's phone somewhere on the other side of the world. I'm dead serious. We talked about Alvin Law earlier, too. The Gooch said Alvin Law drives with his feet, or drove. Did he really, though? I always thought he was fascinating. I remember watching Telemiracle once, and he played the drums, I think. Was that correct? And awe-inspiring was Alvin Law. But I know I've heard the drive with his feet thing before. I don't know if that was possible, or that would be allowed. Need to fact-check that. Colson's our fact-check guy. Been a good show, good participation. Like I said, it's Tuesday for Saskatchewan Lotteries, the main fundraiser for sport, culture, and recreation in our country. The Olympic hockey saga continues. We talked about that in the next hour. I need something. Now it's like I need it. I need something new tomorrow. I need pictures. If anybody out there in Sports Cage Lands knows anybody that's actually been in this facility, maybe played in those test games, let us know. 936-6262. We'll get them on. We want to talk. Is there plumbing in the bathrooms? Roscoe's saying they should bring pails. And I opted for a sponge bath, and then Roscoe corrected me and said pails is not a sponge bath. Sorry. Roscoe's big sponge bath, big pail guy out there in Kindersley. He cooks and he bathes in a pail, does Roscoe. Awesome show, though. Thanks. Keep the text coming in. Let's get it going with, at the 5 o'clock hour today, Arash Madani.
It's time to go coast to coast with Arash Madani for Smart Investing Solutions. Be smart with your money. Call Brian Gawley at Smart Investing Solutions, 546-2533.
Good day, sir.
How we doing?
Good. What do you think about things? Where do we want to start? I think you and I, actually, let's go here first. We're of the same mindset on the importance of the Riders signing Tevaughn Campbell I thought he was kind of 1B for me. Yes, Trevor Harris. From there, I went to Tevaughn Campbell.
Sure. And to me, it's Emilus and Campbell, 1A, however you want to kind of call it. You're only as good as your Canadians. And to me, Emilus, the most impactful offensive Canadian, Campbell, the most impactful defensive Canadian. Barney, it's interesting. I just heard snippets of your interview with him on social media. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Like, I had heard some murmurs that Campbell may not necessarily want to come back, etc. And I guess he confirmed it with you guys, but this is a huge addition to get him back into the mix. This is a game-changing player. To have 2-6 back in the fold absolutely makes that defense electric.
And he talks about, and we're going to replay the interview now. I don't know what Colson's been fast at work there on the other end of the board here.
He's the best.
Yeah. Top 10 for sure. But what he, he talked about that, retirement was a strong possibility, the kids factor. And then when he broke his jaw last year, he's like, man, I'm 32.
What am I doing?
And I broke my jaw. And then that's where I piped up because I felt I needed to say so. I'm like, but buddy, 32 is not our dad's 32. Like, you're still young. And then I get into it. People can listen to it in a bit. I asked him, I gave the time that he ran his 40 in at the CFL Combine. And I said, when's the last time you ran a 40? Or what would you run right now, do you think? A little bit of a teaser, but the guy can still move.
Oh, yeah. Look, and I'm trying to do the mental Rolodex here. I don't know if there's, in the back end, like in a secondary defensive back role, if there is a Canadian corner, safety, halfback, I would want more on my roster right now than Tevaughn Campbell. I actually thought, and age is the issue, but to me, talent-wise, he has the ability to be on an NFL field. To me, there is no doubt about that. I doubt the opportunities and looks would come because of the age. That usually comes kind of earlier in your career, and Campbell exhausted a lot of those opportunities. But he changes games, and there are very few players on the football field that you can say does that, especially on defense.
Changes games, or he changes game plans.
Right.
Definitely from the other team. Like, football is a lot of that chess match. And we saw it when he was out this year, how we were maybe a little bit exposed. Now, that doesn't mean that Jeremy O'Day wouldn't have went out and found somebody capable, somebody really good to fill that hole. Now he doesn't really have to. We got, Campbell back, so then we can sprinkle that somewhere else. So you're totally true. AJ Ouellette, he can't be waiting for the negotiation window to maybe go play somewhere else. What does your gut say there? Is there maybe something? Is he going through some off-season waiting to find out maybe an injury or something? What does your gut say?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I will tell you, I will dig into that a little bit, and I'll try and have an answer for you later this week when we reconvene. It's an interesting one because there's this perception about running backs when they reach a certain number of years of service or age or whatever formula that comes with it. And because AJ plays, a certain brand of physical, barreling type of football, will the body hold up?
There's no mail it in. There's no mail it in with him.
One speed, right?
Yeah.
The thing is, I just don't see any slowdown from him. So I don't see any decline from him. I don't see somebody. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on. Obviously, you can only pay so many guys. Obviously, he's an American. Obviously, you're thinking, younger and cheaper and all those kinds of things. But I'll dig into it a little bit and try and get you an answer on 45.
Yeah. Part of me thinks maybe it's him. Maybe he's waiting on something either physically or personally to fall into place, because I cannot see him playing anywhere else or going to the window. What if you were? Are you in the meeting tomorrow with Stu Johnston? Are you going to ask any questions there, or if you're not, what question would you ask?
I'm going to jump on the Zoom. Kind of want to see how this thing unfolds. I think rule changes are going to be top of mind, etc. To me, why didn't you do whatever you were going to do with rule changes? Like, it's moot at this point. To me, the bigger questions are what's ahead, what's coming, what's going to be different, what should we be expecting on field in 2026 and 2027 beyond what we already know? What are your priorities beyond rule changes for the actual on-field football? What do you want to see different? There's a lot of talk now, are they going to separate East and West divisions, Barney? Is it just going to be, a 9-team league, like almost like the Premiership, who's top of the table? I'm indifferent towards that. I'm not kind of passionate about the East Division versus the West Division. I think if you have the two top teams in the league playing for a championship, that's fine with me. But I'm interested to see where else they want to take things. And I think that the rule changes have just taken up so much oxygen over the last 6 months.
I was, I kind of want to hop on just to be the pigeon that asks about U.S. expansion, and then just leave.
There you
go. and then just hang up. No, there's a lot that he's going to cover tomorrow. I should ask Glen this, and I can on Thursday. I'm curious where we are in the TV deal.
So the last I heard on that, and this was before the holidays, is that Bell Media / TSN, they have an exclusive negotiation window first with the league. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how long that is, but it was still going in December. I think it's kind of extended into the early part of the year. It's a certain number of days based on the contract. And, if they come to a deal on an extension as the exclusive and only partner, that's what they do. My sense has always been that Stu Johnston is looking for at least one additional place to put football games on. Money talks. So, let's see where things are. But the conventional methods are really out the window. Look around leagues, Barney. Amazon went and stole the NBA from TNT. Like, TBS and TNT aired basketball when I was a kid, and I'm 45 years old, and they did forever. Netflix is airing Christmas Day football games. DAZN had the Club World Cup this summer. Like, everything's now changing and changing fast. So it's going to be interesting to see where the CFL lands on that.
Yeah. I can't foresee, but then what the heck do I know? A streaming service that is, and they can put on the product that TSN does as well. It's a pretty good product in 2025 going into 2026 here, what they do in comparison to what it used to be like. There's something else from the meetings I was going to ask. I lost my train of thought here. But the rules.
I think stood out from the coach yesterday, and I think it's kind of relevant to the Riders, just because it's who they played in the Grey Cup. It sounds like Davis Alexander every month or two is going to come up to Montreal and check in with the coaches and check in with the trainers and see where the hamstring is and make sure he's not overdoing it like he did last offseason that led to some of those leg and lower body issues. The Alouettes are hell-bent on trying to find a way to make Davis Alexander be as healthy as possible. And that matters because you're talking about the reigning East Division champions. You're talking about a player who, when he was on the football field, was incredibly effective. The other thing is, I keep hearing Mike Miller talk about Chad Kelly's going to be their quarterback. He's going to be there at training camp. He's their opening day starter, etc. They're in touch all the time. Chad's owed a lot of money. Let's see how this offseason transpires and the money that he's owed in February with his offseason bonuses, because if all those things cash, then he will be.
I heard him talk about that, and he was like 100% on that he's a starting quarterback. Are we getting? I'll read this message. Jeffrey loves you, by the way. Loves your passion about Calgary. He wants to know: are we getting league-wide uniform redesigns? I think it was just more sponsors that they're, from what I read, that they're trying to find out ways to make more lettuce, baby. Makes the world go around.
Get more
just a little patch on the shoulder. Maybe they're gonna go full European hockey, chuck it on the pants and everywhere.
Yeah, sure. I mean, they do it on the field anyway, so why not add it on anywhere else? Look, this is going to be the challenge for Stuart Johnston. Again, so much of the oxygen has been about the rule changes, but you have to find new revenue streams. That's going to be a priority for this commissioner and for the business operations side of the league moving forward. Now, they've already announced this partnership with Football Canada around flag. What's their flag strategy? What's their flag program going to be in the lead up to LA 2028? Can there be like a minor football, etc. partnership that can lead to something? That's something you wonder about, especially with flag being one of the fastest growing participation sports in this country.
One thing, again, little tease here for Tevaughn Campbell coming up in a bit. I asked him if he would entertain trying out for Canada when it comes to flag football in the Olympics. Details coming up after this interview. There we go.
What a cliffhanger.
I know. Can I do a segment within a segment here with my buddy Arash? Can I do Sprinkle of the Day for Sports Select with Arash before we get into NFL? Let's first off, before we break down and then where we stand here, sportselect.com, you can now go on and you can bet on futures. I just found this out about 4 months ago. I do have a couple in my possession. What a future bet is you're betting on the winner of the AFC, the NFC, the Super Bowl. You can do hockey. They have the Dubai Invitational in golf, the future. The Africa Cup of Africa Nations winner when it comes to soccer. It's all at sportselect.com. Fill it out. QR code. Go to the Lotto Spot retailer and scan. Let's, you and I, Arash, look at now the latest odds on Sports Select. Colson will throw them up for the Super Bowl 60 winner. Seattle Seahawks, 365. They are your favorites, followed by the LA Rams and then the New England Patriots. On that whole board, the 49ers are the longest, 20. Anything there jump out at you? Where's your value? Denver?
I am stunned that Denver is a home dog this week to Buffalo. That makes very little sense to me on a lot of levels, especially with the Bills now losing Gabe Davis. They lost another one of their receivers to injury. It's Josh Allen versus the world. Denver offers value. Are we buying into Bo Nix right now? Maybe. I've been all over Houston for a couple of months now. Losing Nico Collins to a concussion last night means he's probably out this week. That's a big loss for them. I'm still going to ride Houston. I like the Texans. I like that defense. Number one defense in total yards this season. It's hard not to continue to ride that, Barney.
They pay $9.25 on the futures. Colson just put up
like
this weekend's action. Buffalo, Sports Select has Denver now as a half-point favorite, home to Buffalo. I think Denver might win by more than 4. Francisco, San Francisco is, I don't know how they got it done in Philly with the injuries that they have, but Shanahan, caps off to that guy. Is there any chance that you could see, like, I talked about it last week, and I was a man of my word. I hammered Carolina covering 11 points at home to the Rams.
Yes.
I, legit. I told the wife, drop me off at the credit union. Give me 5 minutes. I'll be right out. Like, that was so obvious, I feel. Is there any way that the 49ers, knowing those teams know each other really well, they play in the same division, 49ers can win this game in Seattle?
I think it's an incredibly hard ask. Like, even with George Kittle in the mix, they got run out of the gym in Seattle just a couple of weeks ago. I'm not buying into this whole what version of Sam Darnold narrative. No, it's Sam Darnold's had an incredible year. He's led the Seahawks to the number 1 seed. He got it done against San Francisco before. The Niners get away with it with a patchwork defense. They have so many guys off the street, etc. Can they do it again? I think it's going to be incredibly difficult. Look, Jawan Jennings, their receiver, threw the touchdown pass to McCaffrey to get them going. Philadelphia just imploded. I can't see that happening to Seattle.
I heard the Jennings story, I can't remember where, that he was a highly recruited quarterback out of high school. Like, I think he's in the same high school class maybe as Darnold, some of these other shooters. And he was...
Burrow.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray. Yeah, like a bunch of them.
This is such a flag football play, by the way. I love it. Like, absolutely love it. What a catch, by the way, from if you're watching the stream. The weather in Seattle on Sunday looks actually really nice. 10 degrees and sunny. That's
advantage Seattle. That is absolutely advantage Seattle. Not a lot's been talked about with the Seahawks defense, too. They've been lights out.
Tomlin resigning today, saying, you know what? It's been real. It's been fun. Hasn't been real fun lately. Jump off guard, come at a surprise. Didn't surprise me. What about you?
Yeah, it didn't surprise me either. It just felt like it was kind of getting to the end of the line, not just this year, but the last couple of years. The Steelers have not been able to find a quarterback since Ben Roethlisberger. They went and drafted Kenny Pickett. They had Mason Rudolph. They've tried a bunch of things. It hasn't worked. 19 years is a long time. It just felt like that fan base had turned on Tomlin. It's one of the most intriguing things. Mike Tomlin in 31 other markets is viewed so differently now than he's viewed in Pittsburgh now. And I find that wild. Look, I get it. 4 straight playoff appearances without a win. Hasn't been to a Super Bowl since 2010, et cetera, but no losing records along the way either.
Out of 100 or percentage that Tomlin even entertains that John Harbaugh entertains a phone call from Pittsburgh.
Look, the best thing that could happen here is John Harbaugh ends up becoming the head coach in Pittsburgh and Mike Tomlin ends up becoming the head coach in Baltimore. Like, that would be perfect, wouldn't it?
Scripted.
But how about this? In the AFC North, only one head coach remains from 2 weeks ago, and it's Zach Taylor of the Bengals.
Yeah.
Who would have picked that a few weeks ago?
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Wild stuff. Look at this. We're up against the clock already. That means we have Thursday to really get into the Patriots game. I'm not super confident. I know you like your Houston Texans, and then we'll maybe break down the Denver a little bit more, but we're going to have lots to talk about from Stuart Johnston speaking. Well, you're coming up Friday, actually. Perfect. Friday, right into the weekend. We'll sprinkle a little college football in there as well. All right, my man. Thanks for doing this. And we'll talk Friday.
You got it. Have a good one.
Sure. Coast to Coast with Arash Madani is brought to you by Brian Golly, Smart Investing Solutions. Be smart with your money. Call Brian Golly and his team. Ooh, that sprinkle of the day, those futures, Sports Select. Man, we're going to have to look into that, see if some of those maybe move throughout the week here as well. It's a Sportscage. We'll be right back with your sports ticker.
Get it hot and get it fast. Western Pizza.
Been a long day. Your feet hurt, your brain is fried, and now supper? You're staring into the fridge, contemplating your options, but your energy says, let's just not. Now imagine golden, crispy pizza loaded with all the Greek favorites. Feta, olives, tangy tomato sauce, fresh veggies, and melted mozzarella. Every bite is like a Mediterranean vacation for your taste buds, and you didn't lift a finger. Western Pizza. Dine in or take out today.
Get it hot and get it fast. Western Pizza.
New year, same old basement? Freeze Tallman Lumber has everything you need to transform that space from storage to stunning. Framing lumber, insulation, drywall, interior doors, molding, and ceiling tiles. All the materials to turn your basement into something you'll actually use. Start the year by building it right with help from the pros who know interiors. And they'll deliver it if you live in Regina, Fort Capel, or anywhere in southern Saskatchewan. Visit freezetallman.com. Freeze Tallman. Let's get you building.
It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Steelcraft Doors Regina, made in Western Canada for Western Canadians.
All right, Western Hockey League, Saskatchewan teams in action up in Paradise. The Raiders are home to the Brandon Weed Kings. Moose Jaw continues their U.S. swing in Portland. SJ, Estevan, Yorkton, and then Weyburn and Humboldt. That's a battle right there this evening. Humboldt needs points to get back in the Nutrien Division. Chance for the top spot there. National Hockey League, Canadian teams, Vancouver and Ottawa in Ottawa. Montreal travels to Washington. Calgary's in Columbus. The Oilers in Nashville. Winnipeg home to the New York Islanders, and Toronto's in Utah. It's for Regina Steelcraft Doors, made in Western Canada for Western Canadians. They have a 40,000 square foot facility. If you need a garage door, Regina Steelcraft Doors has it. Tevaughn Campbell interview from hour 1 is coming up in moments. Tomorrow on the program, just to tee it up, if you want to jump in and participate again, we will have Dustin Nielsen from TSN joining us. A lot from Stuart Johnston and his media availability at their winter meetings. Eric Francis comes on tomorrow. Who knows where that goes? And the newest goaltender from the University of Regina Cougars, who just came out of the WHL halfway through the season. Oh, and also the senior hockey report as well. So that's all coming up tomorrow's show. It was for Saskatchewan Lotteries today, main fundraiser for sport, culture, and recreation in our province. Like I said, the Tevaughn Campbell interview is coming up after the break.
If you've got a Steelcraft garage door, you've got a door with parts manufactured and assembled right here in Canada. A door with better insulation and seal, plus a warranty you're probably never going to use. Combined with a LiftMaster opener, it's the right choice. And if you don't have a Steelcraft garage door, you should get one. And a LiftMaster opener. 100% made by Canadians for Canadians. Steady, tariff-free pricing and great quality, no matter what.
Steelcraft Door, Steelcraft Door, Steelcraft Door. We offer more.
Back to our regular spot, PumpJacks Cathedral.
You know, I thought PumpJacks was a kind of boot polish till last month.
What are you getting?
Kerwin's crispy ribs and a cold pint of local craft. Crispy, meaty, beautiful.
You had me a meaty.
Plus, we got live music on the weekends, big screens. This place is basically my second marriage.
And way cheaper than the first.
On the corner of Albert and 13th.